Hey, 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 what's up, everyone? Please tell me that you guys can hear me. Yep, I think I think we're good. Hey, what's going on? Hey, I told you I'm wearing the ugly sweater there. Erroneous click. Like my ugly sweater? Ugly Xbox sweater. What's going on, everyone? Thank you so much for joining. Merry Christmas. If it's Christmas Day for you, it's still Christmas Eve here in the US, but there's probably, there's 3.5 hours to go where I am until Christmas Day. But Merry Christmas, everyone. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out. I don't really have anything planned for this stream other than just hang out with you guys for a while and just chill. So I will just read through the chat, answer any questions, and hang out with everyone. But I really just wanted to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and say thank you so much for people supporting me on my channel this year. It's been a great year on the channel, and I just wanted to give back to you guys and say thanks for hanging out and supporting me and making me do the best I can as far as the content goes. And obviously there's going to be so much more to come next year, and I'm really excited about that too. So Erroneous Click, thank you so much for the super chat, my friend. Do you think I would show up without a ugly sweater? You were mistaken. Much appreciated, sir. Anyone wants a shout out in the chat, just holler and I'll call your name out. Grab that guitar and play Freebird? I don't think so, Lewis. Don't think so. I get a lot of requests to play Freebird. Hack the PS5. Hopefully, the trick about the PS5 is I'm going to get two of them, right? I'm going to use one as just a retail PS5, and the other one I'm going to keep in the box. And maybe, just maybe, that 1.0 firmware that comes with the new system, there may be some exploit. So we'll see. What's up, Daniel? What's up, JCL 197? What's up, Robert Lewis? Kiwi Doggy, what's going on, brother? I'm not playing my guitar tonight. I'm not even I don't even have anything hooked up to. I don't have an amp or anything I can plug into at this time. What's up, Biran? Is it a Fender bass in the background? Yes, it is, Kura. Good to see you here, by the way. Thanks for joining. I remember you were here last Christmas Eve stream. We were playing. I think it was Onimusha on the Switch. So that was I can't believe that's been a whole year since then. A whole year has passed since I did my Onimusha stream. It's pretty crazy. What's up, Lamboa? Thanks for joining. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, Babbler49. I did end up finishing the game, but I did it off stream. Have I got pointy ears under the cap? No, I don't. I've just got regular ears and no hair, as normal. Time flies when you're having fun. Man, it's been a crazy year this year. There's been a lot of good stuff happen, but it's also gone really fast. What's up, Dino Robert? Merry Christmas Eve to you too, brother. Do I play a lot of games? Yes, I do actually. I've played a ton of games over the last few months. Hey, Vanessaria, good to see you in the chat. How's your Retro 486 coming along now? I actually don't have a 486. Mine is a Pentium 2, and it's a Pentium 2 at the moment, but I've also got a Pentium 3. But I really want to get hold of a 486 setup because I want to kind of go back even further. I think that'd be really cool. Tell us about your normal Christmas routine. It usually involves, going to families for Christmas Eve, which I just got back from. and we usually stuff our faces there, open presents, and have a good meal and spend time with the family. Then on Christmas Day, don't really do much. Just play video games, and hopefully I'll get some good video games for Christmas I can get stuck into. So that'll be a lot of fun. Have I played the new Star Wars game? Yes, I have, Jack Martin. I have. Fallen Order. It's excellent. Really enjoy that game a lot. Hey, thank you so much, Trevor Collins. Happy holidays to you too, for the super chat there. Do you like Destroy All Humans on the OG Xbox? I do, J-Star. I think it's an excellent game. It's been a while since I played it, but got good memories of the game for sure. Have I seen the new Star Wars movie? I have not. Hockey Highlights 79. I will probably go see it eventually, but I'm kind of just going to wait a couple of weeks, I think, is really my take there. Blended asked, MVG, do you have a Game of the Year pick? Yes. Not many people are going to like this, but I actually like Death Stranding, and I think my Game of the Year pick is Death Stranding. But I really like the game. I know a lot of you probably didn't like Death Stranding, and that's okay. I mean, I think the game itself has been so polarizing with so many different groups of people that, if you don't like the game, I think that's a valid opinion, and that's a valid, decision that you have. But if you do like the game, that's also valid, because I can see both sides of the story. Ace Combat 7 Game of the Year, Venesaria. Yeah, I think Ace Combat 7 is probably the most underrated game this year by far. Game of the Year, I'm not sure, but it was definitely excellent. Nicholas DeLeon, thank you so much, man, for the $9.99 super chat. Thank you, man. It was great to meet you out at Long Island earlier this year, and hopefully I'll be at conventions again next year. Thank you, man. I appreciate the super chat there. Thank you. Sonic Fan 2019, your videos are really good. Hey, man, thank you so much for the kind words. I really appreciate it. It's Death Stranding versus Ace Combat 7 versus Resident Evil 2. I would say that's probably my top 3 games, but I really liked Luigi's Mansion 3, and I really liked Link's Awakening as well. Man, there were so many good games that came out this year. That's the thing. I mean, there wasn't really that one, major standout that just we all knew was going to come and sweep the Game Awards, right? Everyone was kind of scratching their heads wondering what was the best game of this year. And I was talking to someone about it yesterday. From January all the way through November, we've had so many amazing releases, one after the other, and that's really good to see that video games are getting they're getting so much better than they were a few years ago. So I was pretty happy with this year. Rango Tango, have I played Sekiro? I have not, but I'm thinking I'm going to get it tomorrow. I'm going to play it tomorrow for Christmas. So hopefully that'll be one of the games that I get that's under the tree at the moment. So I'll definitely get stuck into that if I do get it, because I really want to play Sekiro for sure. Thanks, Poopy John. Yeah, nice Christmas hat. Yeah, hope you guys like the Christmas hat. Merry Christmas, Sonic Fan. From Software going to pull Game of the Year. I was very happy that Sekiro won Game of the Year. I've heard nothing but really good things about it. I've seen some gameplay. From Software, obviously, they're a legendary software development house. It was I think it was the highest rated game on Metacritic. I could be wrong about that, but I think it was at least one of the highest Metacritic games. So it deserves to win, and I was very happy that it did. Couldn't kill the first boss. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those games where it's if you don't get familiar with the combat and the way to dodge and parry and all that stuff, you're going to struggle. But I'm looking forward to getting stuck into it. ABG 9619, I've always been a PlayStation guy, but your videos got me into Xbox. I love it. Thank you so much, man. Thank you for the super chat. Yeah, look, I love both PlayStation and Xbox. I mean, obviously, I'm an Xbox guy. I mean, as you can see, but man, I love PlayStation. There's so many good things about the PlayStation that I really like, and I think next year is going to be an absolute amazing year. I'm so psyched about next year. I mean, we've got 2 new consoles coming. Both of them, on paper sound extremely powerful. And what will Nintendo bring with us as well? I mean, I think there's going to be some really big announcements from Nintendo as well. So yeah, I think next year for video games, it's going to be one of the biggest years in video games, for a long, long time. And Microsoft really did pick up steam towards the second half of the year. And I think we're going to see some really good stuff coming out next year. I'm really excited to see what Microsoft has, what they're going to bring to the table for their first parties. And obviously Sony are going to have some cool stuff. Someone mentioned, Blended mentioned Half-Life Alyx. Dude, yes, I am excited about that. I need to get I need to get VR. I was hoping that Half-Life Alyx was not VR only, but the thing is, once you watch that Half-Life Alyx trailer, like the feeling that I got when I saw that trailer was like Valve they've still got it, like that just the look and the feel of the game was just, it really was so cool. So I thought that I thought a lot of I thought that I'm definitely going to pick up a VR for Half-Life Alyx. It's not necessarily something I would normally do, but I think the game warrants VR, and I think this is truly the killer app finally that we'll get for for VR. So I'm pretty psyched about it. Yes, by the way, yes, I am drinking kombucha. People ask me in the chat, what are you drinking? It's just Master Brew Pineapple Peach. So yeah, no alcohol tonight. Maybe on New Year's I'll drink some alcohol and we'll live stream, but tonight I'm just taking it easy. So play Metal Gear Solid 1 to 4, dude. That sounds like about a month's worth of commitment. Like the cutscenes alone in Metal Gear Solid 4, it takes like a week to watch or something. It's crazy. Getting the index controllers. I've been thinking about the index controllers, but I kind of want to just get like the cheapest VR I can for Half-Life Alyx, and I don't really know what that is. I was actually thinking about going to AliExpress and see if I can find a VR system I can just use for Half-Life Alyx that's compatible with it. But those index controllers look sweet, but man, the price of those things are just ridiculously expensive. I don't want to spend that much money, I guess, for one game. But if they start getting more games out for the index, I may consider doing that. Phil Bowser, thank you so much for the super chat. Favorite retro channel on YouTube, especially. Appreciate the OG Xbox stuff. Oh, thank you so much. Merry Christmas to you too. I really appreciate the kind words, and have a great Christmas, man. Really appreciate it. Have you ever heard of Pugsy for the Genesis? Yes. That may be an interesting game to stream. Yeah, I played Pugsy back in the day. It's been a while though. I'm not gonna lie. Brian Duceppe, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you too. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You get the headphone jack working on the Genesis Mini. Did I get the headphone jack working on the Genesis Mini? Oh, I'm with you now. Yeah, sorry, I had to go back and think about it. No, there's nothing there, man. Like, it's just like, it's just kind of blocked off. So, I don't think, I don't think that would ever work. I mean, everything just kind of gets routed through the HDMI. Unadi, love from India. Thank you, man. Huge fan. You taught a lot. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. And thank you so much for the kind words. Just bought Virtual Highlight today. What? Score me, Jack32X. What's Virtual Highlight? I'm not really big on VR. I do have a PlayStation VR, but honestly, I haven't touched that thing in about 12 months. Maybe even longer than that, honestly. So it's been a while since I've used it. The last game I really got stuck into on the PSVR was Tetris Effect, which by the way is well worth playing on VR if you haven't, and you do have a PSVR. I would recommend Tetris Effect as one of the better VR games, or definitely one of the ones that I would recommend you pick up if you are interested in checking out VR. Once you get a VR play Metroid Prime on Dolphin. Wow, that sounds kind of cool. What's the experience like? Hopefully it's when I think about Metroid, I think you can kind of spin around quickly. I wonder how that would go with feeling nauseous and stuff like that. Oh, the Saturn game. I'm with you. Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, dude, I haven't played that game, but I do follow you now with Virtual Highlight. Are you buying the Destroy All Humans remake coming out in 2020? I guess. I mean, if it reviews well, I'll probably check it out. Cheetah, the stream was the one thing I was missing, bro. Glad to see you here. Love to see your channel grow this year. Thank you so much, Cheetah. Yeah, man. I try to live stream when I can, dude, but like I'm pretty slammed with work and YouTube most of the time. But I always like to live stream when I can. Unfortunately, I don't really do it as much as I would like to. But maybe next year we'll do some more live streams. Last year I think I did a total of like 3 live streams. I probably did about 5 to 7 live streams this year, but hopefully I'll get around to doing more for sure. Best Apple Arcade game, dude. I wouldn't know. I don't actually use Apple Arcade. I'm an Android guy. VR needs more creative people to jump on board. It's definitely not a gimmick. Yeah, Floppy the Dong. Yeah, I think I agree with you. I mean, I think Valve on board, I would expect to see some interesting stuff coming. Hopefully they can continue to support it after Half-Life Alyx does come out, but I will definitely be checking out that game. I mean, it's just got its hooks in me, unfortunately. I mean, unfortunately from the perspective of it's not going to cost me $59.99. It's going to cost me $59.99 plus the cost of a VR device, to play the game. So whatever that ends up costing me. Do you have Game Pass? Yes, I do, Gangway Gamer. Yeah, love it. Retro Godfather, good to see you in the chat, buddy. Have you played Shenmue 3, and what are your thoughts? Dude, I am a fan of the Shenmue series. I'm actually getting it for Christmas tomorrow. I'm going to probably unwrap it at some point, and I'm going to play it. So I'm... look, I'll be honest with you. I haven't really been following up on the reviews of the game. I've heard mixed things about it, but, man, I want to get stuck into it and just try it out for myself and really enjoy it. So I think it's going to be a good game from what I've seen. So hopefully it will be. And yeah, thanks for joining, man. I remember you from the old days. You're a big Shenmue fan. I remember your collection that you had of the Shenmue stuff. So yeah, appreciate you stopping by and let me know. What do you think of the game? I'm interested in your thoughts too. Another super chat, €5. Nick Nanork. Happy Christmas and greetings from Germany. Appreciate your work. Thank you so much, man. Hopefully I didn't butcher your name too bad there, buddy. But Merry Christmas. Thank you so much for stopping by. Do you still watch the homebrew community, or is it dead? It depends on the different home. There's different homebrew communities for different systems. So it's some systems obviously don't really have a large homebrew community anymore, but if you look at something like the Switch or the Vita, they still have very active homebrew communities, and even older consoles like the Dreamcast have still very active homebrew communities as well. So it's it really depends on which one that you look into. Chaos Generator, thank you so much, man. Merry Christmas. I appreciate it. The Toad, Merry Christmas from Sweden. Thank you so much, man. Merry Christmas. Shameless James, thank you for the super chat. Eggnog, yeah or nay? Answer carefully. Yes. Yes to eggnog. Yes, absolutely yes to eggnog. Am I a AAA game developer? No, I'm not, Cicada. No, I'm not. Do you have an iPad? I do have an iPad. Mike, Stocklaza, Merry Christmas. Thank you so much, man. Merry Christmas to you too. Gwen Rears, GameCube, Wii, or Wii U, in your opinion, is important? For me, it's got to be the Wii U, man. Like, I think the Wii U is probably one of the most underrated and misunderstood systems that was ever made. And, the Switch obviously is, doing very, very well. but I really, really like the Wii U, and I always have a soft spot for it for sure. So, how long have I been involved in hacking community before the Xbox era? Before the Xbox era, the OG Xbox, I wasn't really involved at all. So that was, back in the early 2000s was when I first got involved in the scene. Marie Kanka, yes, the Wii U is awesome. Absolutely. Yeah, Marie gets it. Love the Wii U. How do you feel that the homebrew scene leads to piracy? Well, I mean, I think that's an interesting discussion that I don't necessarily want to talk about tonight, because it's it's Christmas, man. I don't want to get too deep in stuff, but I will say this, that yes, I mean, look, homebrew can lead to piracy. There's no way that's not true. It can lead to piracy, because then you have kind of access to a lot more of the system than you were supposed to have, which means potentially it opens up things like, ROMs and ISO loaders and Ripper programs and stuff like that. So, I don't want to be, I don't want to say it doesn't, but, homebrew itself, we're talking about emulators, media players, applications, utilities, stuff like that. I mean, all that stuff should be, should stand alone as its own entity. So it's an interesting discussion, and hopefully that answers that question. Again, I don't want to get too deep on that stuff, but I've got a couple more super chats here. Let me go through them. We got €1 from Green Pixel. Thank you so much, man. No message there. And Andre, hello from Russia. Merry Christmas. Thank you so much for the super chat. Much appreciated. Merry Christmas, Hack Predators. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate the kind words, and thank you for stopping by. Your videos, I got a PSX DVR, and the video helped me get it set up right now. Plays free McBoot with English PSX. Awesome, Jack32. Yeah, man, those PSXs are great systems. Just keep off the hard drive, and free McBoot is the way to go for sure. Virago, thank you so much for the super chat. Do you think the Switch Online will improve much over time? Love your stuff this year. Keep up the good work. I hope it does, but I don't think it will, unfortunately. I really hope Nintendo does improve the Switch Online, but I also feel like they're kind of just in a holding pattern with that stuff right now. And I don't really see it changing to be any different than what it is. I mean, we don't even have, voice chat on the online service, right? So I don't see that coming anytime soon. We don't have, party chat and stuff like that. So I don't necessarily think it's going to change much. I wouldn't expect it to. Hopefully it does, though. Hopefully we'll see some new updates for the Switch Online. John Smith, love the channel. Can't wait for the review of the Polymega. Dude, I can't wait either. I pre-ordered my Polymega like 6 months ago now. I'm told it's going to be end of February when they start to ship out the units. So, man, as soon as I get that thing, I'll be tearing it apart and doing a full review on it. So hopefully it'll be good. I did get to try out the Polymega at E3 earlier this year, and I had really good impressions of the unit. I thought it was pretty slick, but we'll see what the final product ends up being. Just bear with me for a sec. There is a lot of questions here. I'm trying to, unfortunately I can't answer everything, but I'll try to answer as much as I can. Merry Christmas from the unlucky Tulsa Gang task force nerd who got stuck alone in the cold watching a bait car on Christmas Eve. Thank you so much for stopping by, Shameless James. Merry Christmas, man. Much appreciated. Jill Hopkins, Xbox Series X doesn't have a system link, judging by the preview image. Thoughts? I hope it does have system link. If they don't have system link in the new Xbox Series X, that will be a shame. But I mean, if you think of it another way, if it has an Ethernet port, then technically it should support System Link, right? So hopefully it does. But I saw that too, and I was a little nervous about it. But I also will say that, look, the Xbox Series X, so far, what we've seen, and we have to remember this, we haven't seen the actual system. We've seen a render of it, right? So, let's kind of wait and see when they actually unveil the actual hardware, other than just kind of a 3D render of it at this time. But I'm pretty psyched about the Xbox Series X. Hopefully it'll come out good. Merry Christmas, Two Toads. Thank you so much, man. Thank you for stopping by and being a part of the chat. Smash Brawl is a really awesome game. Yes, it is, Gwen. Absolutely. Take it easy, Gaming Evolved. Have a Merry Christmas. Do you think Sony will drop another stability update for the PS Vita? Dude, if you told me that Sony was still updating the Vita and the PS3 in 2019, I would have just laughed in your face. But I would say that there may be more updates coming. So we'll see. They keep trying to patch, the work that the Flow has done, and they can't do it. So maybe they'll keep bringing updates out. It's really hard to say. So. Danification, Merry Christmas from the US and the state of Kentucky. Thank you so much, man. Merry Christmas. Horny Devil, I see you there, man. How are you, man? Merry Christmas. Thank you for stopping by. Dude, of course I remember you, man. Thank you for stopping by the chat, man. Merry Christmas. Cubicle Nate, Merry Christmas. Just so you know, I still love that Xbox I won last year. You are awesome. Oh, that's right. So yeah, I gave away an Xbox, OG Xbox, late last year, and Cubicle Nate was the lucky recipient of that. So thank you for stopping by. And I'm probably going to be giving away more stuff next year. So there'll be more giveaways and things. So just stay subscribed and keep watching my stuff. I'm sure I'll be giving away stuff on the channel for sure. Merry Christmas from the Netherlands. Swear Yonge. And again, I apologize if I butchered your name. Thank you, man. Merry Christmas to you too. No Sleepers in Kentucky as well. Dude, Merry Christmas, and thank you for stopping by. Computer specs of this machine. I'm using a 1080 Ti Intel i7-8700K. Thinking about going to the dark side and maybe getting a Threadripper build going, but my system is still pretty good, so I'll probably keep it for a while longer yet. Gregory Terry, Merry Christmas to you too. Liam Doherty, Island Represent. Man, thank you so much for stopping by, Liam, and Merry Christmas. No Sleep, Merry Christmas. Ian Eddy, Merry Christmas from Perth, Western Australia. Thank you so much, man, for the kind words. Much appreciated. Do I own a PS Vita? Yes, I do, Akura. What games would I suggest? I would say Persona P4 Gold is an absolute must play. There's some really good other Vita games that I would suggest you check out. There's Gravity Rush, which was a good one. There's so many good Vita games. There's some really good ports as well. There's Marvel vs. Capcom has a really good port on it. There's a Mortal Kombat port on there, which is really good. Vita has some excellent games. There's some really good Japanese-only games as well. So the Vita is excellent. And of course, you can homebrew a Vita pretty easily and get some good emulators running on it as well, for sure. Put any thought into doing more hardware modding for systems other than the OG Xbox? Yes, I have, Second Lease Gamer. Absolutely. I'm always looking for interesting things to do on the channel, so there'll be some cool stuff coming next year. I'm kind of mapping out my schedule of videos and kind of what I'm going to be doing next year. So I'm pretty excited about what's coming. So, stick around on the channel. There's going to be some more stuff for sure. Connor Stefan, $5. Thank you so much for the super chat, man. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you too. Much appreciated. Am I excited for the Polymega? Rob D, I just talked about the Polymega, and yes, I am really excited about the Polymega. Hopefully it comes out in February. That's what we're being told, so we'll check it out. But it'll be reviewed on the channel for sure. Venesaria, $5. Thank you so much. Any chance to surprise us with that unfinished synth track you always use? Yes, I am. I will be uploading. I'm trying to finish. I want to finish it before I upload it. There's just one part of that song where it's kind of loops and it's kind of droney. So I'm trying to find an interesting, melody that I can kind of add in there just to make it a lot more interesting. So I will be uploading that, very, very soon. This week and next I've got some time off. So one of the focuses I have is, working on some more music. Because, the music that I use on my videos, they're all really cool. I like them, but I also kind of recycle the same tracks over and over again. You guys have probably figured that out. So I'm going to get some all brand new music, for videos starting next year. So I'm going to sit down and bang out some tunes as well. Kiko missed a $20 Mexican super chat. Thank you. Say hi to Mexico. Hello, Mexico. Merry Christmas to everyone out in Mexico. Thank you so much, man. Merry Christmas, and thank you for being in the chat here and stopping by. Much appreciated. John Norlander, all drunk and quite finished here in Sweden. Have a nice dream. Thank you, man. Merry Christmas. Hopefully you're getting stuck into some of that Swedish brew that you got going on over there. Much appreciated. Thank you for stopping by. Dark State HK, £10. Hi MVG, the console crack videos. My FD Chris filmed the Sega Saturn CD cracked AFT 20 years YouTube vid. Any thoughts, future vids planned for Sega Saturn protection homebrew, especially chip music trackers? Yes, I will be covering a lot of the Sega Saturn next year. The Saturn actually is something that I haven't really touched on too much on the channel as of yet, but first of all, the Saturn is one of my favorite systems. I absolutely love the Sega Saturn. And it's really something that I want to start getting more involved in. So there's definitely going to be some more Sega Saturn, videos coming out next year for sure. Is MVG Aussie? Yes, I am, David Kenwood. Hello. What do you think about RetroArch? J-Star, I like RetroArch. I think it's a pretty slick piece of software. Do you plan to check out the Mister? Yes, I do. I will be looking at the Mister in 2020. It's something I get asked about a lot, and it's really time that I kind of sat down and started to use it. I kind of waited a little bit because I know that it was more, I'll say, like up to this point, it was more kind of for the hobbyists. But it's starting to get to the point now where it really needs, it's really getting to the next level. So it's time for me to start taking a look at it for sure. Coin Feeder, thank you so much for the super chat. Hey mate, any exciting software or even hardware projects on the backlog for 2020? Yes, I can't really say much at this point, but yeah, I mean, there's going to be some cool stuff coming for sure. Absolutely, for sure. What's your favorite front end? Are you talking about for like RetroArch or like Hyperspin or something? I don't really have a preference there, Ross. It's whatever's available really, I guess, is what I use. Do you like Vegemite? Yes, I do, Progressive G. I love Vegemite. A lot of people don't like Vegemite, but I'm a pretty big fan of it for sure. Hey ODB, Merry Christmas to Florida. I see you in the chat there, brother. Yeah, Merry Christmas, man. Hopefully you're having a good one down there. You're at knife point. You have to name your favorite game of all time or you're dead. Can you do it in 10 seconds? If so, what is it? Yeah, that's easy. Super Metroid. Phil Underhill. Merry Christmas, Electric Soda. Hope you have a great year. Finding your videos has been truly great part of mine. And you really kicked off my interest in retro games and a real passion. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate the kind words. Vegemite is good if you sparingly. Dude, I love Vegemite. I love Vegemite. So I'm just used to it. I guess I grew up with Vegemite, at home. So, but I definitely get why a lot of people don't like it. It's kind of like Death Stranding. You know, it's very polarizing and a lot of differing opinions about Vegemite. Replica X, man, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Merry Christmas to you too, brother. Thank you for stopping in the chat. Much appreciated. Hopefully you're having a good one with your family there, brother. Metroid Fusion. Metroid Fusion is a good game, but I would say that Super Metroid is better than Fusion, but that's just my opinion. Merry Christmas, MVG from Belfast and the people of Ireland. Been a big fan for some time. Hope you have a great year coming. Can't wait for new content. God bless. Thank you so much, Kieran. And thank you for the kind words, man. Am I going to get PSO2 for the Xbox One? Absolutely. I'll check it out. I'm pretty excited about, actually, Phantasy Star Online 2. Hopefully it comes up good and it plays well. I'll definitely check it out for sure. Triforce Gaming Master, I love your accent. I can do a semi-Australian, semi-New Zealander accent. Cool. Awesome. Super Metroid is the best console game ever made. I totally agree. I totally agree. Totally agree. Mario Brother, MVG, big fan here. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Thank you so much, Mario Brother. Much appreciated, man. What is your favorite Nintendo game on the Switch? I would say that, I mean, it kind of varies because there's been some great games. I mean, if I had to pick one, I would say Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is my favorite. But I mean, I had so much fun playing Link's Awakening. I had so much fun playing Luigi's Mansion 3 that it's not easy to just to pick one. But if I had to pick one, I would probably say Breath of the Wild is my favorite. Deep Mage, $10. Thank you so much, man. Merry Christmas. What you asked for this year, dude? Just a bunch of video games. You know, like whatever I didn't play through the year is what I will. I usually get and will fill up the backlog, and then I'll spend the next couple of weeks playing through those games, and hopefully I can clear the backlog before video games start being released again, you know, in late January. Well, there's not really that much coming, I guess, in January, but February, March is looking pretty stacked for video games. So, you know, that's really what I'll be getting. Cubicle Nate, $5. Keep doing what you're doing. I wish you the merriest of Christmas, and I hope for the more years of great content. Thank you so much, man. Yeah, for sure, dude. I'm not really planning on changing the schedule, the format, or anything like that. So there's definitely going to be a lot more, you know, more to come. So, you know, keep watching, keep subbing, and hopefully you guys continue to enjoy the content. Please review a bunch of Chinese consoles. Actually, I want to get that knockoff Switch that was released in Colombia. Hopefully, if someone can tell me how to get a hold of one of those, I would love to review that thing. That's going to be cool. Did you play the earlier FPS games like Dark Forces and Jedi Knight? Yes, I did. Dude, I grew up playing those games, man. I love those games. Yeah, I like Jedi Knight 2, Dark Forces, Jedi Academy. I really enjoy those games a lot. Very good games. Yeah, March is a terrifying month for releases. It's gonna hurt some people's bank accounts and wallets, I'm sure. In the new year, do you think you can port Diablo 1 to the OG Xbox? Steve Benson, I'm not going to say yes, but I'm not going to say no. So let's put it that way. It's definitely something that I've given some thought to. So I may take a look at that. Let's put it that way. Do you play games for pleasure anymore, or given the busy schedule? Dude, I do. I play a lot of games for pleasure. I usually set about 10 to 15 hours a week and play games. I mean, I grew up playing video games, and I'll never stop playing video games. So yeah, I'll definitely continue to do that for sure. CJ Lodge, hello MVG. Just wanted to say I've been loving your coverage of History of Exploits. Seriously opened up a new interest for me. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. I hope you guys are enjoying the Mistakes Were Made series and the DRM discussions. You know, I try to bring a unique and interesting take on the content, so you guys seem to like it, and there's more to come for sure there. Ariane Anderson, $5. Love the channel and the fact that you make tunes as well. Is YouTube your full-time gig, or are you programming full-time or a combo? Merry Christmas. So I actually work full-time. I do YouTube on the side. And yeah, so YouTube is not my full-time job. I get asked that a lot because a lot of people just assume that it is my full-time job. And I guess, you know, a lot of people just assume that, you know, once you get to a certain level of success on YouTube, that it is your full-time job, but the reality is it's not. I work full-time, so and I guess it seems to work for me because, you know, I'll have a week at work, and, you know, work is work, right? No one likes working for no one likes working, right, for a boss and working 40 hours, but then you come home and then you do some cool stuff on YouTube. So, you know, I always get really excited about the content that I make. Have you heard of the Chinese version of the NVIDIA Shield? Yes, I have, Yasin. I'm actually trying to figure out if there's a way that I can load the firmware, the Chinese firmware, on my regular Shield, because I have heard about the Wii games that are available on the Chinese-only NVIDIA Shield. So if anyone knows a way to do that, let me know, because I saw a guide about doing that, but honestly, it was pretty complicated. Dylan Lippincott, hey MVG, do you code? What language do you use? Yes, I do, Dylan. C, C++, assembly language. As far as kind of more mainstream stuff, you know, Visual Studio, .NET, C#, all that kind of stuff. Doing YouTube as a side job would mean that you don't have to worry about demonetization. Yeah, I mean, you know, for me, it's... You know, I've always believed in don't put all your eggs in one basket. You know what I'm saying? Like, you always have to have multiple streams of revenues. So, you know, if YouTube kind of disappeared tomorrow, or they stopped running ads on YouTube, then I mean, I'd be pretty devastated about it. Let's not lie about it. But I also would just kind of continue on with what I was doing. You know, it wouldn't really affect me as much as, I guess, some other YouTubers. Have a Merry Christmas, BLT. Do you ever think there can be an N64 Mini? Lord X Mugen. I don't know if there's going to be an N64 Mini. It's really something that I have talked about before, and the thing about the N64 Mini is interesting because it involves more powerful hardware than the current SNES and Nintendo NES Minis that are out there. And it also will mean that the cost of the product would increase from what we're used to, right? So it means that, and the other thing is that the Nintendo 64 is a much more difficult system to emulate correctly. So I'm not saying it won't happen, but I don't expect to see an N64 Mini for a while. Let's put it that way. I think it's going to be a little bit of time before we see one, if we ever see one. Hey, MVG, can you try to defeat Xbox One security? Yes, and that's not really something that's trivial to do at all. So there's some really good slides and presentations on Xbox One security that's out there. Who are your favorite video game YouTubers? I got quite a few. I like Spawnwave. He's probably someone that I like a lot. I watch his show every single day. I like Lazy Game Reviews, LGR. He's obviously someone I like as well. I like, you know, most of the mainstream YouTubers that are out there. I watch quite often. Marijan Miskovic, €5. Merry Christmas to you and everyone watching. Check my ambient drone music Colossus on YouTube and Bandcamp. Sorry for spamming. I really thank you, man. I'll definitely check that out. I appreciate the super chat. Yeah, people are saying that the stream is laggy. Is that something that's happening to everyone? Let me know. It seems to be pretty good here, but if it's laggy, let me know. I'll see if I can tweak some settings around. Digital Foundry, absolutely. Big fan of Digital Foundry for sure. Merry Christmas, Kolosh. All the best. What is your go-to system for handheld retro emulation? Ooh. Go-to system, I would probably say the Vita is probably the best system for handheld emulation this time. Phobius, Merry Christmas. Have you looked into the Mr. FPGA yet? I remember you talking about it at some point. First of all, thanks for the super chat, man. Yes, I have. I will be covering the Mister in 2020. I mentioned this earlier, but I kind of felt like the Mister was more in the hobbyist area last year or earlier this year, but things have really progressed a lot, and there's been some big advancements in the Mister. So I think it's time that we start to cover it on the channel. Katie Curtis. $2.99. Merry Christmas, MVG. Love what you do. Keep it up. Thank you so much, Katie. You have a Merry Christmas as well, and I really appreciate the super chat there. And thank you so much for stopping by. Chronic Spartan Games. Merry Christmas, MVG. Merry Christmas to you too, brother. Thank you so much for stopping by. Can't wait to see the videos on the Mister. Yeah, there's definitely some Mister videos that will be coming next year for sure. Merry Christmas from Holland. Dennis Veneman, Hack Mini almost done. And what about Master System Mini? I don't know if the Master System Mini will ever come out because I don't really feel like it's something that will sell very much. Now, before you say, well, it probably will, a lot of people, the Master System is such an old system and it's more kind of specialized. It's like the TurboGrafx Mini or the PC Engine Mini, which were announced. I mean, they're cool systems, and I want to check them out. But I also feel like I don't know if Sega will actually consider a Master System Mini. I would say we would get a Dreamcast Mini before we got a Master System Mini. That would be interesting if we got a Dreamcast Mini. Hasangba MVG, I recently got into homebrew scene and made an improvement to the DevKit Pro examples, and I like it so far. Can't wait to open my first homebrew. Awesome, man. Awesome. Did you do a pull request and get that uploaded to the GitHub page? I'm interested to know if you did that. I don't think the Genesis Mini sold that well. Master System seems on. Yeah, I kind of get the feeling I get the feeling as well that that's the case. Second Least Gamer. I think that the Genesis Mini really is probably the best mini console that's out there. But yeah, I guess as far as how much it sold, I mean, I don't think it compared to the NES and Super NES minis at this time. Okay, new man. Yo, live MVG stream. I watched your stuff while modding my old Xbox last year. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you too, man. Thank you so much for stopping into the stream. Is there a way to emulate PS2 games on the Wii? No, there is not. The Wii would not have enough power to emulate the PS2. Master System was niche in the UK and South America. Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I would love to see a Master System Mini, don't get me wrong, but I also feel like it's probably not something that's going to come. Troy Jones, Merry Christmas. My wife showed me your channel, and now I'm hooked. Thank you. Thank you so much, Troy. Merry Christmas to you too. Thanks for stopping by. What's the first console you homebrewed? That's easy, Angelo. That would be the OG Xbox. Hey MVG, I'm from Zimbabwe. Have a great Christmas week. I want to ask to review some Russian console. I don't have any Russian consoles, Karamali, but I'm kind of interested in what that would be. Mitch Crane, shout out to Shizno, who was forever alone on Christmas. Shizno, if you're in the chat, Merry Christmas, brother. Master System wasn't niche in UK. It outsold the NES for years. That's interesting, Craig. Interesting info. Good to know. Are you Australian or South African? I'm not South African. I am Australian. McTurbo 1300. And not a rude question, by the way. No problem. Has the Wii Mini been hacked yet? Yes, it has, actually, David. There is some type of Bluetooth exploit. And I am probably going to take a look at it at some point. I was just waiting for that exploit to be I guess, more mainstream. How much time do you spend gaming every week? Probably about 10 to 15 hours, depending on what's going on at home and on YouTube. How did you get into programming? I started typing out basic programs on the C64 back in the day when I got a C64, and I liked it, and I went to school and learned computer programming, and went to college and got a computer science degree, and kind of just went from there, man. MVP, do you think someone will make a candy cab in the future similar to Arcade 1-Up? That would be interesting if they made like a Arcade 1-Up style, like Sega Astro City. I'm not really sure how that would go, but I'm not. I would be interested to see if they did that. I don't think that would happen, but you can never really rule anything out, especially now that Arcade 1-Up released they've got like the cocktail thing now that they released, so who knows what they'll bring out. Can the hack switch play GameCube? I think with Lacquer, I think that's what it's called, it can, but I don't think there's a native GameCube emulator yet, but I think it has enough power certainly to do so. Merry Christmas from New Zealand, by the way. Thank you. Merry Christmas, Brandon Danino. Hopefully you're keeping cool down there in NZ. It's probably pretty warm down there right now, I'm guessing. Is there a way where you can burn Wii games on blank DVDs? I don't know, the Shark, but I guess my question is, why would you want to do that anyway when you can just use a USB loader? Merry Christmas from Mexico, Nelson Ripoll. Thank you, man. Merry Christmas to you too. Hello, man. Bio Cybergoth, have you heard the recent restoration under Forest Interlude? You're missing an amazing treat. By the way, Sam Miller just completed DK1 OST restorations. I heard some of those restorations actually, and they were really good. I haven't heard the Forest Interlude, so I will definitely go and check that out for sure. A Decimated Amiga $10. Merry Christmas, MVG. I required an Xbox debug kit 2 months ago. I was wondering if you have any tutorials on how to code for the Xbox in C++ and add assets. So far, I'm following a tute on xboxdev.net. Well, I would say if you have the XDK, which you probably do, the best way to learn is to look at the samples. So when you install the XDK, there will be a samples folder, and there'll be everything from the simplest Hello World program to rendering a cube and then textured cubes, and like just kind of go through the whole step of all the different things you can do. So I would say take a look at those samples, because that would be the best way that you would learn how to write code on the OG Xbox. The XE dev stuff is cool, but the samples will really help you get where you need to be. Do you think, Horny Devil, do you think we'll see a port of Zelda: A Link to the Past on the Switch? There's been rumors about that. I I don't know. I mean, there's been rumors that it's going to get announced. We'll see. It's hard for me to imagine that game will ever get an update, and then you could argue that does it even need an update because it's like the perfect game anyway. But I mean, if what we've seen on the Switch this year come out, with respect to remakes like Link's Awakening, you can't really rule it out, So maybe we will see that. If you ask me, yes or no, will we see one? I would probably say yes. I would say we will get a Link to the Past update on the Switch. Whatever that looks like, I'm not sure yet, but hopefully it'll be very, very good. Will we see a new jailbreak for PS4? I do not know if we will. Do not know. Mobile games now on smartphone. Do you think handheld games are no longer required? James, I think there's place for both mobile and handheld gaming. I mean, if you think about it, the Switch is just killing it right now. We're towards the end of the year, with almost 50 million Switches sold. So, I mean, I think, honestly, there's room for both. What's your favorite Sega Saturn game? Oh, that's a good question. There's some good ones. I mean, Radiant Silvergun is excellent. Panzer Dragoon, of course. Oh, man, there's some great Sega Saturn games. I would probably say, Radiant Silvergun is. I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but I like Daytona, the CCE edition. Sega Rally is good. Virtua Fighter 2 is top quality. Knights, man, there's so many great Sega Saturn games. Mega Man, of course, is excellent on the Saturn. That's a tough question. I don't know what Shining Force 3. There is a lot of good stuff on the Saturn. I have to get back to you on that one because I can't think of just one game that kind of stands out for me. Do you see the Switch getting a PS2 Xbox emulator? Is it even possible? It's certainly possible. Guy in a wheelchair. Will we see it? I don't really know. Probably not. What's your favorite modern console? PS3 is my favorite. I would say I kind of flip-flop, man. Like, I'll say something today, but it probably will change, like a few weeks from now. But I like the Xbox 360 as a modded system. Once you get that thing modded with an RGH on it, it's pretty damn awesome. Some of the things you can do on a 360 is a lot of fun. What's up, Riley F? Thank you for stopping in the chat, and Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to everyone. From a programming perspective, are you using C? Yes, I am. Progressive G, can you speak in an American accent? Dude, I'm not going to speak in an American accent. Have you played the Shadow of Mordor series? I have. It's pretty good. The first game was good. The second game kind of lost me a little bit, especially with the microtransactions. Will Sonic Unleashed ever come to PC? I don't think so. I don't think we would see that. Merry Christmas, Dr. Maguri. Merry Christmas, MVG and chat. Same to you. Merry Christmas to you too. Would there be a way to play DVDs on a Black Wii? Again, I'm not really sure on that. I would just use a USB loader. I mean, once you've modded a Wii, there's really no reason to use the drive anymore. It's really just rip your games onto USB and then just play from USB. Thoughts on Rise of the Skywalker? Tony Serta. I haven't seen it yet. I'm probably going to go check it out over the next couple of weeks. I'm going to wait for all the hype to die down and just go to the movies when there's like 2 other people in the cinema. Decimated Amiga, Merry Christmas to all of you. So glad MVG is streaming. This was a nice surprise. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, I wanted to do this for a while. I thought it would be a cool way to chat with you guys. You guys have been watching my stuff all year and wanted to just give back and say thank you for supporting me and more cool stuff is coming next year, of course. Is a 128 megabyte Xbox worth it or a poly mega? I would go the 128 meg Xbox, Rob D. Are you aware of the PS3 exploit that is going on? Are you talking about, which one? There's quite a few exploits for the PS3. There's obviously the jailbreak stuff from the early days, but there's obviously the newer stuff that's out there as well. Jake Space, $5. Do you think modern technology is not as fun to tinker around with compared to older technology? I feel nowadays you're cut off from the nitty gritty. Totally agree with you. 100% agree with you. I mean, if you open up any modern system, it's just going to be like this tiny little SoC, these tiny little resistors, these super tiny capacitors. I mean, there's not really much you can do with a modern system anymore. You can't mess around as much as you used to, like with the old stuff. So yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you, man, and a good question too. I would totally agree with what you're saying there. GPD XT, what are your thoughts? Sebastian Flores asks. I think it's an interesting system, but I think it's too expensive for the price, and that's where I struggle with it. I don't actually have one. I've wanted to get one, but I just feel like the cost is a little too expensive. I have the C64 Mini and can't wait to get the new C64 with the working keyboard. Yeah, I've been seeing reviews of that. It looks like a pretty decent system. So I'm going to probably pick one of those up and take a look at it on the channel. I know 8-Bit Guy did a review of it recently, so he seemed to like it. So I'll check that out for sure. Yo, Wrestling with Gaming, we're about to open presents here, so I can't stick around. Want to wish you and everyone a Merry Christmas. Thank you so much for stopping by the chat, brother. Have a Merry Christmas. And yeah, hopefully you get some good stuff when you open those presents up. Is there a way to connect an Xbox to a VGA monitor? Yes, there is. There used to be a device called the I think it was like the X2 VGA, which did exactly what you're asking. And there are other ways you can connect an Xbox up to a VGA monitor, but you will need some type of converter or a scaler to do so. A VGA to an AV cable will do the trick for sure. Gangway Gamer, have you played Control? It's my game of 2019. Yes, I have. I got to be honest, man. I didn't like it as much as I thought I would, but I did play and finish the game, and I definitely respect the game. And I thought, it was pretty decent. But honestly, as someone who is a fan of Remedy games, I kind of wish they did something that was more Alan Wake, and hopefully they will go back and do an Alan Wake 2, because I'm psyched about it. But I'm glad you liked the game. It wasn't really for me. I did play and finish it, and I definitely respect the game, but not really what I was looking for, I guess. Control was kind of boring, didn't finish it. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was boring. I just didn't really... For me, Control was an interesting game because I felt that the combat was fantastic. I mean, the combat in the game is top quality, but for me, it was a lot of running around from one area to the next, and that part of the game was a little dull for me. But I thought the premise was cool, the graphics were good, the engine was good, the story was interesting. I don't know. I mean, I would kind of rate it a solid 6.5 to 7 out of 10. Certainly not my favorite game this year, but I know it was a lot of people's favorite game of 2019. Chevy Chase, $5. Hey MVG, your content is some of the highest quality on YouTube. Will you please do mistakes were made on DirecTV H and Hue cards, on loopers and glitches? Let me take a look at that, man. Like, I got to be honest with you, that's not really an area that I'm super familiar with. And normally when I do, content on the channel, it's because I have a vested interest in it or I've got some experience with it. But let me do some digging up on that whole stuff and see what I can find out. If there's some interesting stories and tales there to talk about, I'll see if I can take a look at it. Are there any Holy Grail video games that you want, like crazy stuff to get? Ooh, man, that's a good question. I don't know, MVP Heat. Like, I guess I'm not really a collector in the traditional sense. Like, I'm not really looking for like the high dollar stuff. But with that said, I mean, there's probably some some rare or some Neo Geo AES games that I would like to have. The ones that are like $5,000 and higher, like the Metal Slugs or something. But even those, for me, I don't really know that's a holy grail, right? Because a holy grail is something that's like, it's like an oh shit moment. It's like, I finally got this thing, and the thing about most games these days is that you can just emulate them. And normally if I want to get my fix of something, I'll just emulate, the game. But I guess, let me throw it back to the chat. What are some of the holy grails that you guys are looking for? Because I'm kind of interested on that. I mean, you could say like stadium events or something, but, even that doesn't really resonate with me. Or like a Nintendo, was it the Nintendo World Championship cartridge, the NWC carts? Those things don't really mean anything to me because I don't have any connection to those things anyway. But I mean, if I saw one at a thrift store and I found one, right? I mean, sure, but I don't know. Like, holy grails for me, just I don't know. Like, I don't really know what my holy grail would be, But I guess yeah. Let me know what you guys think about that. Buddy Holly, $5. Hope you do more emulation videos. Love your content. Happy holidays, Buddy Holly. Yes, I will be doing a lot more emulation videos in 2020. As obviously it's something that I'm very interested in covering on the channel. So yeah, thank you so much for the super chat. Dev Monster, hey MVG, Merry Christmas from the Philippines. I hope you do more great content next year. I love your videos, very informative and technical. Here's a simple thanks to you. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate the kind words. Hope you have a Merry Christmas and hope you're doing well out there in the Philippines. I really apologize. I cannot pronounce your name, but thank you so much for the 500 yen. Really loving your videos about emulation. Hope to see more. There's definitely going to be more. Merry Christmas to you, and thank you so much for stopping in the channel and hanging out with us tonight on this very Merry Christmas Eve. Holy Grail was the green Xbox that Bill Gates signed and gave to the Xbox team. Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm probably not really thinking, when I think about Holy Grails, I was thinking more about games and not really like hardware. But yeah, I mean, one of those one-off game consoles would be interesting for sure. Holy Grail I would look for is the Xbox 360 development kit. That's the XNA model. Decimator, I actually have an XNA development kit that I'll probably show in a video someday, but I actually have one of those. Holy Grail for me would be the Sony Super Nintendo. Drunken Beard, thank you for the $2. Yeah, I mean, that's the one that's been taken around all the conventions and shown off. I've seen it like 3 times this year at different places I've gone to, different conventions. It's cool, but is it really a Holy Grail? Because, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, for me, a Holy Grail is something that you have, like, some type of connection with or some type of an emotional attachment to. Maybe it was something in your past, or maybe you saw something in a magazine or something that just kind of really resonated with you. So, for me, the PlayStation, Nintendo, whatever it's called, doesn't really resonate with me. Game Riff, love the channel MVG. Thank you so much. Long-time fan. What is your non-mainstream game of the year? Ooh, that's an easy one. It's Ace Combat 7 on the PlayStation 4. Any thoughts on the hacking scene for the PS4 and Xbox One, they both seem dead. I would say never at this point. Second least gamer. I think Xbox One. It's been secured very, very well, and that's really what it comes down to. You know, it's something that has been designed extremely well after all the mistakes that were made on the Xbox 360. PlayStation 4 has some stuff going on, but you know, it's we're at an interesting point because a lot of people are already thinking about, you know, PS5, and I guess when that happens, things tend to kind of slow down when it comes to, you know, the homebrew communities of those systems. Aaron Morris, $2. Do you think they'll crack the Xbox One? Probably not. At least not for a long time. I wish I could link it to you guys, but there was a very good presentation made by one of the Microsoft security researchers that designed the security model of the Xbox One, and let me tell you, it is very, very secure. But that's not to say there isn't, you know, a potential exploit, but I don't really see it happening. Take it easy, ODB. Thank you, man, for stopping by. Have a Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, Obetsky666. Microsoft paid people money to hack the Xbox 3 and learn stuff from it. One of my holy grails is the beta Xbox 360. Yeah, I would probably put that down as one of mine as well. Anything that's kind of early hardware would be kind of cool. Yeah, the Xbox One hypervisor is insane. That is absolutely true. Can you do a Sega CD security video, Ethan? Yeah, I mean, I'll probably take a look at that. I mean, there's a lot of systems that I haven't covered yet on the channel, so I'm definitely going to cover some more next year. Merry Christmas, oof oof. Have a good one, and thank you for stopping by. Merry Christmas, Mr. I'm not going to pronounce your last name there, but have a Merry Christmas. Sinister Puppy, Merry Christmas to you too. It's a shame that the Polymega has no intentions of supporting PS2, N64, GameCube, Dreamcast, or Wii. Is that something that they've come out and said that they're not doing that? I'm curious because I think the reasons why they currently aren't supporting those systems is because they need to somehow license the emulators to use. So, you know, I guess I want to know more about the mindset there. Is that something that they've said they're definitely not going to do? Or is it something that they're not going to do at this time? Can you do a video on the Xbox One Alpha Durango development kit? There's a really good Wired article you should read about that stuff if you want to learn more about the Alpha Durango development kits. Would the original Xbox dev kit, not debug, be a holy grail for you? I thought they were roughly in terms. I wouldn't say so. I've passed up on like a DVT4 in the past, so I wouldn't say that's a holy grail for me. Alexander Calderon, Merry Christmas MVG. Best gift to you gave me was the emulators on the original Xbox back in the day. Thank you, man. I really appreciate the kind words, and I'm glad you're enjoying the OG emulators that I did back in the day. Much appreciated. Jake Space, $2. One more. Do you think modern OSs are more intrusive? Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I totally believe that they are for sure. It's pretty hard to to do some of the things you could get away with on like Windows XP, for example. Doing things like, memory execution and stuff like that, or, marking memory as executable. I mean, you can still do that on modern OSs, don't get me wrong, but a lot of the times at least on modern consoles, you can't mark, memory as executable and things like that. Merry Christmas, MVG. I've followed you for a long time, and I think that your videos are among the best on YouTube. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much, Amandik. Yeah, much appreciated, man. Corey McCall, you're my hero. Thank you, Corey. I appreciate the kind words. Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. Fixed memory was crazy in older Windows. It absolutely was, for sure. Did you actually eat Vegemite? Yes, I love Vegemite. Of course I do. Got to say, the OG Xbox was where it's at when I started modding as well. Probably 13 or 14 at the time. It was an awesome thrill. Thanks for the work on the emulators. You're welcome, Nabushis. And yeah, man, I really had a good time back in those days too. It was a lot of fun. Did you ever play Marble Blast Ultra back in the day, 360? Yes, I did. Man, I love Marble Blast. I wish they would bring that forward for modern systems. On the Switch, with gyro controls. Are you kidding me? That would be ridiculous. I would love to play Marble Blast again. When will a console have a Dreamcast emulator? And Merry Christmas to you. I don't know. I mean, I know that you can run Dreamcast emulation on like a Raspberry Pi and the NVIDIA Shield. I think the Switch has some type of work in progress Dreamcast emulator, but honestly, I don't know. Hopefully we'll see. The 360, Xbox 360 has a Dreamcast emulator that runs under Linux, which was, it started out really good. Unfortunately, it's not being, developed anymore, but, it runs some stuff. So, there are some Dreamcast bits and pieces on some systems out there. Have I heard about Orbital, the PS4 emulator? Yes, I have, Mark. Yeah, I'm kind of keeping an eye on that because I think that's going to start, improving over time. Does anyone know how to mod the NES Classic? Tony Gilbert. Yes, it's pretty easy to do. I don't remember what it was called, but there's a simple way to do it. You can do it literally in about 5 minutes. Favorite system this gen? Maxim, I would say this thing right here is my favorite system this gen. And followed by the PS4 as a close second. What's the story of the painting on the wall behind you? If you're talking about this one right here, so if any of you ever played the game EverQuest, the MMO that came out back in like the early 2000s, then you were probably familiar with some of the lore of that game, and that actually is Antonia Bale. So if you play EverQuest, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you don't, just look up EverQuest and Antonia Bale. Speaking of Dreamcast, anyone hope Capcom will port Project Justice to Switch PS4? Yes, I would hope for that. I would love to see that. I've picked up an RGH modded 360. Best homebrews to install. Send a hello to your fans of Brazil. Hello, Brazil. Thank you so much, Luis. And I would say the best homebrew would be FB Alpha or FBA Next for the Final Burn emulation. MAME 0.72. There's some good emulators out there for the 360. There's also SNES 360. There's Genesis 360. And yeah, there's some cool stuff on the 360 for sure. Rudy Valencia, your various history videos are awesome and I love them. Please keep making them. Absolutely, Rudy. Not going to go away anytime soon. Expect some really more cool stuff coming out in 2020. Would you like to see a Burnout 3 remake? Absolutely. Absolutely would love to see a Burnout 3 remake. Burnout 3 was probably my favorite in the Burnout games. Capcom just renewed the IP and copyright for Project Justice. Dude, I did not know that. That's awesome. That's out. Hopefully we'll see a new Project Justice game come out. That's cool. Rival schools or something. That'd be interesting. Merry Christmas, Wolfgang 13. Did you ever watch TV station G4 TV back in? Yes, I did. I really liked it, man. Some of it hasn't really aged very well, I guess you could say, but it's pretty good. Yeah, Capcom. Capcom has had an amazing year this year, and I think it's just going to continue. Obviously, Resident Evil 3 next year is going to be big for them, and I'm excited to see what else they come up with. CM, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you too. Thank you so much, man. Thank you for stopping in the chat. Overclocked, were you involved in the Xbox Underground, or were you just involved in Avalanche? I was a member of Avalanche. Overclocked. I did know all the members of the Xbox Underground, and I've spoken to many of them that were around back in the day. But no, I was not a member of the Xbox Underground. Are they remaking Resident Evil 4? No, well, at least not at the moment. Resident Evil 3 is next on deck. What Capcom will do after Resident Evil 3 remake, I'm not sure. I mean, I probably think they may go back and do a Resident Evil 8 after that, because I don't know if they will remake Resident Evil 4, but we'll see. You know, we'll see how it goes. You know, hopefully remake 3 will sell well, and we will get Resident Evil remake 4 or someone, yeah, Hoss the dude says Code Veronica. I mean, we don't really know where it's going to go from here, but I think we'll see some cool stuff coming from Capcom for sure. Merry Christmas, Santiago from Colombia. Thank you so much, man. Merry Christmas to you too. Just modded 3 original Xboxes thanks to you. Awesome, Alfred. Did you do soft modding, or did you do TSOP Flash? I would love a Code Veronica remake. Yeah, I mean, Code Veronica would be great as a remake for sure. Still have my chainsaw controller for the Cube. Nice one, Tony. Nice one. History of MAME video anytime soon. I've thought about doing that, but History of MAME is there's a lot to cover there. So that may be like a 2-part video series, because there's been so much that's happened with MAME, and there's been so many people that have been involved in the development of MAME that it may take a lot more time than originally. You know, it take more time than like just a regular 13-minute video. But trust me, I have thought about that a lot, and I think it's an interesting topic to deep dive into for sure. What am I drinking? I was talking about this before, but I'm just drinking a kombucha. No alcohol tonight. Maybe on New Year's we'll drink some Grey Goose or something. Hey, do you think you could make a detailed video on wares like guys like Echelon and so on? I've heard a few of them ended up forming dice and hold positions. Well, first of all, you heard true. A lot of ex-scene members are now working in game development, and in some cases have started their own development companies. And yes, I mean, I think that's definitely a topic and an area that I really want to get more involved in. I've got a lot of contacts that were ex-scene members, and I think telling that story would be interesting. So there's really there's really a good possibility that I'm going to do that. You just realized my shirt has Xbox buttons on it. Yeah, man, this is my my dope Xbox sweater with see the there's the achievement here and the Xbox button here, and on this side sorry, is another achievement there. So what's up with the PS4 disk drive news coming the 28th? Aaron Morris, I'm not really familiar with that. Could you cover arcade PCB security? AMOR 2600. I actually did a video on that. Take a look at... I talked about the security on the Capcom CPS2 arcade hardware. Now, If you're talking about other types of arcade hardware, then yes, I would say there's probably more that I'm going to do there. Showing off my achievements. Yeah, man, I've got like a gamer score of like 20,000, so I don't really have that much. I got the easy achievements, you know, the Avatar 1,000 achievement points. What's up, Hatina the Weeb? How you doing there? Merry Christmas. What version of Street Fighter is the best? Ooh, Alpha 2 or Third Strike is probably my picks. I also really like Hyper Fighting. Really like Hyper Fighting. But yeah, there's been some pretty good Street Fighter games out there that have been released over the years. EX plus Alpha is a good one, but I'd probably say Alpha 2 is my pick. Covering news, it might be dangerous. Yeah, I'm not really planning on covering kind of the current Switch emulators. Plus, also, you know, my dude BSOD Gaming covers that stuff very, very well on his channel. So, you know, if you want to see what's going on in Switch emulation, just check out his videos. He does an awesome job and keeps things up to date pretty well. Alpha 3 on the Naomi. I actually have the Alpha 3 on the Naomi. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Where did I get the sweater? I got it from the Xbox, like, merch store. Like Major Nelson tweeted about it like on Twitter one day, so I just clicked on there and there was a whole bunch of Xbox merch and I got the ugly sweater. Have you played Devil May Cry 5, Gangway Gamer? Yes, I have. I absolutely have. I loved it, played it and finished it. Thought it was one of the better games of the year for sure. Which was pretty awesome. It was a good game. I really liked it. I want that Windows XP sweater as well. I know that some folks got the sweater, but I did not. I'd like to get it though. I know last year they had like a Windows 2000 sweater, which I missed out on as well. So yeah, everyone needs an ugly sweater for Christmas. Come on, got to wear the ugly sweater, right? Last year I had a Zelda one that I wore over Christmas, so I thought I would switch it up a little bit and do the Xbox. Maybe next year I'll get like a PlayStation ugly sweater. A friend of mine was a part of the Atomic Force C64 cracking crew. If you're interested, it's good to know, Philomax. I may take you up on that. May take you up on that. Xbox for Live, absolutely, absolutely. Merry Christmas, David Rimmer. Merry Christmas. I love watching your videos. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. What's the worst game of all time for you? Oh, man. That's a good question. I can't think of like the worst game of all time. That's a tough one to think about. Probably, I don't know. Probably some FMV game or something. Yeah, that's I got to think about that one. It's not that easy to think about. People saying Desert Bus. I haven't even heard of that game. Fallout 76. Is Fallout 76 really the worst game of all time though? I don't know if it really is. I mean, I know it's completely broken, but I wouldn't say it's the worst game of all time. Like, the worst game of all time is a game that's just that, like, got like a 1 out of 10, you know, review score, Metacritic or something. Big Rigs Over the Road Racing. I haven't played that, so. But I would say like some like FMV game, you know, that wasn't even a game. You know what I mean? And I don't mean like Dragon's Lair, because Dragon's Lair is a great game, but I would say, you know, something along those lines. E.T. is an interesting one. I mean, is E.T. really the worst game of all time? I don't know, you know. I feel like there's a game that we haven't said yet that everyone's going to be like, oh yeah, that's the one, you know. Take it easy, Tony. Have a Merry Christmas. What arcade shooter game on Dreamcast is your favorite? Virtual Cop, House of the Dead, or Silent Scope? I would say House of the Dead 2 is my favorite, but I do like both Silent Scope and Virtual Cop. Virtual Cop, the port on the Dreamcast ran under Windows CE, or you know, used the Windows CE stuff, so it wasn't as good as it could have been, I guess. Nate donated £2. Thank you so much, man. Merry Christmas for a great year of content. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas to you too. The other Superman game after 64. Plumbers don't wear ties. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty bad. Superman 64. Yeah, Superman 64 was pretty bad. What email do I hit you up on? Just email info@modernvintagegamer.com is where you can reach me. Typing of the Dead. Typing of the Dead is legit. Hopefully you're not including that in the worst games of all time. What's your favorite GameCube and Xbox game? GameCube, probably I would say Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes, Eternal Darkness would be my picks. For the Xbox original, I would probably say Panzer Dragoon Orta, Jet Set Radio Future, Fables, always good stuff. Of course, Halo 2. Again, it's hard to just pick one OG Xbox game. There's so many really, really good ones. Favorite PS1 game? Ooh. I mean, I think it would have to be Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Twin Snakes is a horrible betrayal of what made MGS1 so good. See, that's interesting that you say that, because it's a lot of people really like Twin Snakes. Now, I like Twin Snakes, but a lot of people, and I respect your decision, man, your opinion there, because a lot of people don't like what they did with Twin Snakes. You know, they changed the voice acting and they kind of changed the game around a little. I definitely get your opinion, but I just think Twin Snakes is, you know, if you want someone to get into MGS1 today in 2019, I would hand them Twin Snakes over the PlayStation 1 version, because the PlayStation 1 version is like, look, it's a masterpiece, don't get me wrong, but it's like this grainy, kind of blocky, 3D, kind of real primitive looking game, and it's not really going to give the desired effect on someone that's just getting into MGS, I would say. So I would definitely, I mean, I love Twin Snakes, but I also definitely respect, you know, those people that don't. I get it. I get it for sure. Paul Donaghy, thank you for the righteous videos. Thank you so much, man. Much appreciated. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Did you ever play Legacy of Kain? I did, but I got to be honest, I never really got into that series, and maybe I never gave it a fair shake, but I'll definitely give it a go for sure. Monster Rancher 1 on PS1 was great. I liked a lot of the stuff that Square Enix, or a lot of the stuff that Squaresoft did on the PS1 with like Einhander was a great shoot 'em up, and Parasite Eve was excellent. You know, if you ask me, I'd love to see a Parasite Eve remake for 2020. I think that would be cool. Metal Gear Solid with Bleem on DC is way better than Twin Snakes. Yeah, I never really considered that. That's probably a real good way to play Metal Gear Solid with Bleem or Bleemcast. I mean, sure, you can use a PS1 emulator and upscale it and make it look nice, but I think I like your idea about Bleem. You know, checking out Bleemcast. That's interesting. Problem with MGS Twin Snakes is the music sucks compared to the OG. And play Gotcha Force on the GameCube. I would love to play Gotcha Force if I can find a copy less than like the ridiculous $200 and $300 they're charging for it right now. I'll definitely need to play that game for sure. I think Bluepoint is remaking Metal Gear Solid for next gen. I've heard that rumor too, Hoss the Dude. But I've also heard Legend of Dragoon. I've also heard Demon Souls, so we'll see. We'll see what Bluepoint brings to the table, but whatever they bring, I think is going to be really cool. I've also heard Ico. I don't necessarily believe Ico is coming, is the game that Bluepoint is announcing, but man, if they did announce Metal Gear Solid as the remake for the PlayStation 5, I would be ecstatic. That sounds pretty damn good. Not Smith, what are your plans for your channel in 2020? Kind of more of the same. You know, like nothing's really going to change. Like at the moment, I'm still, you know, scheduling the videos that I want to bring out next year. But honestly, like, you know, I'm gonna just keep it the way it is. You know, not really going to change anything up, and see where it goes. You know, like I've had a pretty good year this year, and I think nothing really needs to be tweaked around at all, so we'll just keep it going the way it is. As far as specific videos, yeah, I mean, I got some interesting stuff coming, but not at this point, I'm not really going to reveal anything as far as, you know, videos that I'm bringing out. 999 and 1 or Andy, thank you for your excellent videos. Thank you so much, man. Much appreciated for the super chat there. What's your favorite homebrew game? I like the Metroid homebrew game they brought out, which was really, really good. I kind of wish they continued working on that game. Another Metroid. I think that one that comes to mind for me. But that's a lot of really good homebrew that's out there. Thoughts on Stadia? Maxim, I actually have a Stadia, and I've been trying to review one on the channel, and I got to be honest with you, I kind of just I'm not feeling it. Like, it's not a good system, as you guys know, but I probably will end up releasing a Stadia review at some point. But I mean, it's the thing about Stadia is I don't want to completely just disrespect or just, you know, crap all over Stadia, because the actual experience isn't that bad. It actually is pretty good, actually. But the problem with Stadia is there's two things wrong with it. The first one is that they promise you 4K 60, but they're not being truthful there. There's no game, at least that I have seen, that runs at 4K 60, right? So that whole thing about, hey, you know, you've got a 10 teraflop machine at your disposal, I feel like you're sharing that machine with other people, because when you play the games, I mean, the lag is really good. Like, the input lag is very minimal, actually, and the Stadia actually performs well, but the graphical fidelity of the system is nowhere near that they advertise it to be. So there's that. But more importantly is the pricing model around Stadia doesn't make it makes no sense to me at all. At all. It's the most strangest thing I've ever seen. If Google really wants the Stadia to compete with xCloud and Amazon and any other streaming service out there, they need to adopt the Netflix style, subscription service where you pay, let's say, $10 a month, and you can get access to the library of games that they provide. If they go down that path, then Stadia has a chance. But right now, it's ridiculous. I mean, they're making you pay full price for games that are not full price games. Like, for example, Rage 2 by Bethesda is a full price game. Red Dead Redemption is a $60 game on Stadia, and you don't even own the game. So, once xCloud comes out of beta, it's going to destroy Stadia. And that's really the sad part for Stadia, is that the technology actually isn't that bad, but Google really has no idea how to market this thing, because they're just kind of charging you kind of full price for these games that you don't even own, And I think really that's what it comes down to for Stadia. But yeah, I mean, Stadia's kind of cool, but I don't know. I definitely want to see more from Stadia at this point. And the other thing is, I'm having trouble capturing the Chromecast because it uses HDCP. So none of the splitters that I use, the HDMI splitters that I use, actually allow me to capture any of the footage. So there's also that as well, which makes it very difficult to capture direct footage of the Stadia. What's my opinion on Xbox One backward compatibility? How does it compare to other systems? JJR, that's a great question. My opinion of the Xbox One backward compatibility is that it is probably one of the things that saved the Xbox One from complete disaster, complete failure. Backward compatibility on the Xbox One is super impressive. And now that the Series X is coming, we've been told that they're going to bring all the backward compatibility stuff to the Series X. I'm pretty excited about it. So yeah, I think backward compatibility is very good for sure. Gerardo Ortega, NVIDIA Game Stream has been in open beta for a long time. Do you think NVIDIA will ever release the service? That's a good question, Gerard. I don't know, man. Like, I know what you're talking about. Like on the Shield, they have their streaming service. I don't know. NVIDIA is kind of weird, man. Like they obviously, GPUs is their number one focus, and then once in a while they'll go and revisit the Shield and then release an update for it. But it's hard to say. I don't think they will, honestly. Take it easy, Sharks man out. Have a Merry Christmas as well, and have a good rest of your evening. NVIDIA is rumored to be making a low-powered efficiency GPU for low-budget new Xbox. So we're talking about the Lockhart? Because I believe AMD is involved in that process. I'm not familiar with NVIDIA getting involved again with the Xbox, but it's all speculation at this point. So who knows what will come out of that? Any plans to come to PAX in 2020? Not at this time, John Doe, but that's not to say that things won't change. I haven't really thought about my schedule next year for conventions and stuff. So, there may be some announcements there. I'll see if I can get out to some conventions next year. Maybe an OG Xbox Mini. I doubt we'll see an OG Xbox Mini anytime soon, Gangway Gamer. If Valve come out with cloud gaming service that lets you play Steam games on the cloud, will it work? I mean, absolutely. Absolutely it'll work. Is the PlayStation 5 going to have a resolution of 8K? I mean, they say that it will, but I mean, it won't. I doubt it. I mean, it won't be native 8K. It'll just be upscaled. I don't think there'll be anything that runs native 8K. Especially if you think about even like a 1080 Ti, which is what I have, won't do 4K 60 locked on many games. I think it will upscale to 8K, but I don't expect native 8K games. Do you think the N64 Mini will come out? I talked about this earlier, Sorodox. I don't think there will be an N64 Mini anytime soon. Where do you think the future of emulation is heading? I mean, I think, honestly, we're seeing really good strides being made with PS3 and Xbox 360, Nintendo Switch, obviously, and things like Cemu. PS4 has an emulator that's being developed right now. I mean, I just think it's going to continue to go on the way it is. It's emulation will always be here, and there's always going to be people that will build these emulators and continue to do so. I think it's just going to continue to go the way it is. So I'm pretty excited about the future of it. What are my thoughts about the Epic Game Launcher and its exclusive games? I don't really have that much of an opinion on it. I don't actually have an Epic Games Launcher account, so I've never actually logged into that service and looked around. But I don't know. I mean, I'm not really that... I know a lot of people are unhappy about the Epic Game Store, but look, at the end of the day, it's just a games launcher. You know, another PC games launcher for your PC. So I can't really get that kind of invested in you know, my feelings about it, because at the end of the day, it's just another launcher, just like the Ubi launcher and Origin and Steam and, you know, GOG and everything else. Have you talked about the possibility of PS3 on PS5? I don't think the PlayStation 5 is going to emulate the PlayStation 3. And I say that because, obviously, of the complexity of emulating a PlayStation 3, I don't think the PS5 will emulate the PS3. I think it will emulate the PlayStation 1, and obviously the PlayStation 4 will be backward compatible. Potentially the PlayStation 2, but I do not believe it will emulate the PlayStation 3. Jung Ho Lee, I talked about the Polymega previously, but just, I guess, to recap, I'll be checking it out. I pre-ordered one. I've been told that they're going to ship in February, so we'll definitely be checking that out on the channel for sure. Thanks for the super chat, Elijah Richards. Buy yourself some loot boxes or something. I probably won't do that, but I appreciate the message there, man. And have a Merry Christmas. Thank you so much. What is the list of games for the Sega Genesis Classic console? There's about, I think there's 40 something games. I don't know the list off the top of my head, but if you just Google it, you'll find it pretty easy. Just off to bed in Canada. Richard T. wanted to wish you a Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, Richard. Have a great rest of your evening and enjoy your Christmas day tomorrow. Andre Tyson, what games have you been playing lately? Just finished Death Stranding a couple of weeks ago. Been playing Need for Speed Heat, Jedi Knight, Fallen Order. Finished Control. Been trying to play a lot of the Game of the Year, the Game Awards Game of the Year games, just to kind of get familiar with those. On the Switch, I've been playing Link's Awakening, finished that, and Luigi's Mansion as well. Been playing a lot of games, to be honest with you. Do I play anything online? Not Not really. Sometimes I may jump on and play some Apex Legends, but honestly, I'm not really that big of an online gamer. I did play Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I liked the single player campaign. I thought it was cool. Played a couple of maps online, got my fix, and I was like, yep, this is good. I did play Halo Reach when it came out. I've been playing some of that online, but mainly just been playing through the single player campaign. Gears 5, yeah, I've been playing Gears 5. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I like it. Haven't played Gears 5 online though. The Lavian, g'day, Kiwi here. What's going on over there in NZ? Hopefully you're. I'm not sure what the weather would be like there. I'm guessing it's warm. It's summertime, but knowing that it's NZ, it's probably pretty cool. Halo Reach is the best online Halo ever. Oh, I don't know about that, Carolyn 4060, but Reach is pretty good online. Reach is pretty good. What do you think of emulators for current gen systems coming out so quick? Example, Yuzu. I'm like amazed at how far they've progressed with things. But on the flip side, the reason why Yuzu and the other emulator for the Switch, Ryujinx, is doing so well is because the Tegra chip is pretty well documented, and they were able to, start reversing it pretty quickly. And not only that, the DevKit Pro stuff has a very, very good NVIDIA API in there. So with those things, it kind of doesn't surprise me that they started emulating the system, fairly quickly. MVG, what's a piece of technology that everyone is hyped about that you hold doubts whether it will be successful? Oh man, that's a good question. Definitely gaming. That is a good question. Good piece of technology that everyone's hyped about, that I have doubts on. I think about like Stadia and streaming services, but everyone has doubts about that too, so that doesn't really count. I don't know about that. That's a good question. I got to think about that a little bit. Definitely gaming. I like where you're going with that question. Most technology these days is pretty good. Like even the Switch, is obviously been very successful. But I'll have to think about that one. That's a good question. Very good question. What's your most favorite retro game console? I'd probably say the OG Xbox or the Sega Genesis would be my two picks. Are Nintendo consoles N64 and Wii U hard to develop on? The Wii U is pretty easy to code on. The N64 is quite tricky to code on. But there are some really good homebrew tutorials on N64 if that's something you're interested in taking a look at. Atari VCS. That's a good one, Jolt, dude. The thing is about the Atari VCS, I think most people don't believe that the Atari VCS is going to be successful. Most people think it's an absolute dumpster fire. So I don't know if that really counts, Do you think the mini retro console wave is ending? Dude, that's a good question. I think so. I feel like that whole thing has peaked a little bit. But I do think that we'll still see more retro mini consoles coming over the next, 2 years or so. Jacob S, $2. Merry Christmas. What's the progress on the Hack 64? I actually have a Hack 64 PS4. Sorry, not Hack 64. I do have a modded PS4. I've been dabbling with it. As far as what's going on in the scene right now, things are pretty quiet right now. There are still some things that are going on, but things are kind of taken a bit of a backseat in terms of the I guess the people are waiting for the next announcement for the PS5. Atari VCS will never make it to market. I agree. I totally agree with that. I think it will not. Even though we've been told that they're kind of in pre-production phase and we see photographs of the motherboards, I don't think it's going to come out. Am I going to get a TurboGrafx Mini and review it? I will probably pick one up, John Smith. I haven't pre-ordered one yet or anything like that, but I'll definitely take a look at that. Long time viewer of your videos, first time catching a stream. Please make more emulation videos. Absolutely. Yeah, there'll be definitely more emulation videos coming, Joe. No worries there, man. Thank you so much for stopping by the stream for sure. Favorite Halo game? It would be Halo 3 on the Xbox 360, Carolyn. Thoughts on the new Intellivision, the Amico? I don't know about the Amico, and not because I don't think it's a good system. I think it's going to be a great system. I just haven't really seen much of it personally. I've seen a couple of videos of it, some renders, and a couple of announcements, but haven't really seen much else. But I mean, from what I've heard, that the product exists and people are excited about it. The controller looks kind of funky to me, but I think it could be an interesting product. Review the Soldier Boy console. That was last year, man. Unfortunately, Soldier Boy is no longer making systems. Some GameCube games are downgraded by the hardware or because of the 1.5 gigabyte discs. Usually, it's because of the hardware. To be totally honest with you, it's really they've kind of had to because I mean there's some games that run on multiple discs. There's definitely some 2-disc games out there, but in general it's because of the hardware. Thoughts on the Analog Pocket? Perso, I'm all in on the Analog Pocket. I'm gonna check one out for sure. Hopefully I can get in on that pre-order when they announce them. Can you run emulators on current gen Xbox without a dev account? I don't really know, John Doe. Honestly, I don't really use my Xbox One very much. At all, actually. I haven't turned one on for quite some time. For me, the Xbox One was just kind of a failure, and I just use my PS4 and my Switch is really what I use for kind of modern or current gen gaming at this time. You should do more in-depth videos on emulation and really in-depth and going really in-depth more than you already do. Chase Whip, that's a good point. There's a balance between entertainment and getting really, really technical. I've thought about doing this before where, I could do this technical deep dive on something. But the thing about YouTube and making content is the most important thing you have to remember if you make videos or if you want to get into YouTube or if some of you guys probably already are YouTubers, but if you want to do interesting videos on YouTube, then you have to be entertaining and you have to be able to tell a story, and that story really needs to, I'm not saying it has to make everyone understand or make everyone follow what you're saying, but it's really, what I'm doing there is trying to explain how things work to just anyone, really. Anyone should be able to pick up a video that is a technical dive, deep dive, and kind of follow along with it. So it's always a balance between, how deep do we go with some of the topics that I want to talk about, and kind of entertaining the audience as well. So hopefully that makes sense. But I've certainly given a lot of thought to, maybe I should go a little more in depth in some of these topics that I discuss. Do you think hacking a Wii Mini is worth it? Probably not. Only just for the curiosity, I would say. But I mean, the end result is going to be exactly the same as the regular Wii, so I'm not really sure. Goals for 2020? That's a pretty simple question. Just more of the same. I mean, just keep knocking out videos, keep making good content for you guys, and really just nothing's really going to change. So that's really the goals at this point. Favorite video series to produce? Probably the Mistakes Were Made series. Have a lot of fun making those videos. What video have you made that you're most proud of? Ooh, I think I really liked the Diablo video that I did earlier this year. I would say that's probably one that I'm most proud of. And there was another one that I did, I think about 18 months ago now, where I talked about XBMC and Cody. That video, no one watched that video. Like, it got like maybe 30,000 views or something. But I was really, really proud of that video. So, the videos I'm most proud of don't necessarily are the ones that are most successful. But I think, if I had to pick one, I would say the Diablo video was my favorite one for sure. I want some Tiger video game mods. That's hilarious. I need to check out the Tiger video system sometime. Did not see the Star Wars movie yet, Lamboa. I'll probably go check it out next week. Haven't seen it yet. Am I familiar with the Champions of North games? Yes, I am. I love those games. I'm a big EverQuest fan, or I was a big EverQuest fan, I should say. Will you ever make a video about creating Media Center and covering different all-in-one apps with emulators on them? Lady Grace, maybe. Yeah, that may be an interesting topic. The other thing that I'm thinking about doing is the Windows XP MCE, the Media Center edition. The way that you could interface that with an Xbox 360 was kind of cool, because that was the earliest media streaming that you could get on the 360. So I may check that out. I saw your Diablo video, then ported it to Retro FW and Open Dingus. It was a good video. Awesome, Gleb. That's cool, man. Post your GitHub in the chat here. I'll have to check that out. MVG, can you add Wii games to USB loader? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what it's there for, right? Am I missing something there, William? Yeah, WinMCE was pretty clunky, but the way that it interfaced with the 360 was kind of fascinating. So if there's a way that I can recreate that somehow, I may actually take a look at that for a video next year. COTTY Restoration, Merry Christmas, MVG. If you could work for any console company, which company and console would you have loved to work for? That's an easy one, man. I would have, for Microsoft, I think would have been cool. Back in the OG Xbox days or the 360 days, I think that would have been very interesting. But even now, like even today, being a part of that backward compatibility team, I think that would be something that, look, if there was a way that there was a spot there that I could jump in on, I would love to be a part of that team for sure. Some final thoughts on the PlayStation Classic. My final thoughts on the PlayStation Classic is I wish I waited and bought one when it was $20 instead of the $100 price tag when it first came out. The PlayStation Classic is, I don't know, man. What can you say about it? I mean, I know that you can mod those things now, and you can make you can fix all the problems with them, which is cool. But if we take all that aside and just judge the system on its own merits without any type of modifications, then yeah, I didn't think it was a particularly good system. Do you think that the PS4 Slim was the lowest powered PS4 out of them? Yeah, I mean, I think so, Gaming with Gabe. I got my PS Classic for $10. Damn, you did well. I paid full price. What's your favorite OG Xbox revision? I'd probably say the 1.4 model or the revision is my favorite. What's my take on the Raspberry Pi? I got to say, I just got a Raspberry Pi 4 last week, and I'm going to start taking a look at it because I've always been, and maybe it's me, maybe my opinions are wrong, but I've never really felt like the Raspberry Pi was a great emulation device. Now, before you guys say, well, what are you talking about? I mean, I'm going from the point of view of they seem like they're really kind of clunky to set up, and I keep hearing stories about how there's a lot of input lag and all these issues, right? But I will take a look at a Raspberry Pi 4 and see what it can do, because I've heard differing stories. Traditionally I've not been a big Raspberry Pi fan, but the Raspberry Pi 4, at least on paper, seems to have enough power, so let's see what it can do. What do you think about PS2 emulation on mobile phones? Is it possible in current hardware? Merry Christmas to you and your family. Merry Christmas, Rock for Life. I don't know if it's possible yet. I mean, I guess in theory it is, but PS2 emulation is kind of in a weird spot. So, yeah, I don't know about that one. Hopefully we'll see some PS2 emulation on phones. Can you recommend any up-and-coming YouTube channels? Ooh. Let's see. Who do I like that's up-and-coming? I mean, there's... I like, let's see, who do I like that's up and coming? I mean, I like Wrestles with Gaming was in the chat before. He's got a really good channel. If you're not following him or subscribed to him, you should check out his channel. He does some really good retrospectives. He's not necessarily up and coming though. Up and coming, like, it's hard for me to know who's up and coming because. I just saw John Doe's comment. Linus Tech Tips is up and coming. Jay's 2 cents. You guys are cracking me up. I don't know. I mean, who do you guys like as far as up and coming channels? Tell me who you guys would recommend to me as channels that you like. Splashwave is. See, I'm not familiar with Splashwave, but I'm gonna make a note of that and take a look at that channel. Best system to emulate PS1 games? There's some really good systems to do so. I mean, emulating a PS1 is pretty easy. There's a lot of different systems to do so. I mean, a PC will emulate one extremely well. The NVIDIA Shield NVIDIA Shield TV is really good for PS1 emulation. And of course, if you have a phone, you can run like EPSX, which is an excellent emulator. Up and coming batteries low. That's a good one. Yeah. My man Jordan Fringe. Yeah, His channel is definitely up and coming. I like that. CGQ. I mean, I know CGQ really well. I wouldn't say he's up and coming. I mean, he's been around for a long time on YouTube. He's very well established with subs. I mean, when you say up and coming, I'm talking about someone that has like maybe 5,000 subscribers. You know, Batteries Low is definitely fits that. You know, that mold. Smoke Monster is a good channel for sure. I'm kind of scrolling up and reading the chat here. Retro Roundtable, Retro Man Cave. I mean, again, I wouldn't consider him up and coming. I mean, he's kind of pretty well established. I think he's kind of close to 100,000 subs now. Austin Evans. I do know Austin Evans. I would not consider him up and coming. Retro Future is a good one. I'll have to check out Retro Future as well. Merry Christmas, Shanti. Thank you so much. Displaced Gamers. I'll take a look at that one too. What is the best version of Virtual Racing? I like the Switch port that M2 did, but honestly, I think I would say the 32X version is my favorite version of Virtual Racing. Jerry, thank you so much for the super chat. I wanted to say thanks for the OG Xbox emulators. I fell in love with my wife playing them and 2 kids 17 years ago and going strong. Awesome, man. That's a great story. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas. Review Tech USA. Come on, guys. Review Tech USA really up and coming. I was watching Review Tech USA when I had like 10 subscribers, you know, like 7 years ago. Digital Foundry, Metal Jesus Rock. No. Hard for Games. Now, Hard for Games is a good one because I just found his channel recently because he did that video recently that kind of blew up. So he's got a pretty good channel there. What is the release date of Little Nightmares 2? No idea, William. Hopefully sometime early next year. We'll see. Retro Revolutions. Okay, yeah, we're getting a couple of Retro Revolutions. Hardware Canucks, that's not up and coming. PewDiePie's up and coming. All right. You guys are cracking me up. What was your best fake story that you almost jumped at but didn't? I don't know. I'm not really sure, man. Best fake story. Jamming Sam Miller. Bithead 1000. I've heard Bithead 1000 before. Someone else has mentioned his channel to me. Skyward Speed, dude, your hands down the best channel on YouTube. Love the stories of the systems being bust wide open. Thank you so much, Skyward Speed. Appreciate the kind words, man. Would you consider taking one of those one-up cabs through their paces? Yeah, actually, I probably will at some point. Anon, I will take a look at those one-up cabs, but I have a real arcade machine in my basement, so you know I'm going to put it up against a real cabinet. So you know, there's we'll see how it goes. You know, but I kind of like them. I think you know, they're slowly getting better as far as quality over time, and you know, people seem to like those one-up cabs. So we'll see. Volta, I mean, I've known Volta for a while, so is he an up-and-coming YouTuber? I don't really know, because, I mean, the thing with Volta is he barely uploads videos and then tells people that he's not a YouTuber, so not really sure if Volta would fit that. Speaking of communities, thank you MVG for adding some serious gravitas to the Spawncast. Much appreciated. Thank you, Vanessaria. Yeah, I like being on the Spawncast. It's fun. We kind of joke around, but I also like to put a little bit of a different take on some of the topics that we talk about. So I think, yeah, it's a lot of fun hanging out with those guys on Saturday nights. Now, Genovi is a good one. Genovi for game documentaries. I actually met Genovi at the Portland Retro Gaming Expo, and yeah, he's got a really good channel. So I would say he would definitely fit that mold for sure. Adam Bickley wanted to say thanks for the great content. What's next on Mistakes Were Made? I don't really want to say just yet, but there's definitely more coming. I don't want to spoil anything. Let's put it that way. But you can kind of rule out the ones that I've already done, and then kind of come up with the ones that I haven't. So, just kind of process of elimination, I guess. Magma Master 1801, thank you so much, man. Much appreciated. Merry Christmas. My Life in Gaming, those guys are excellent. They do some high quality videos. Been asked 1,000 times, what's your thoughts on piracy and abandonware? My thoughts on piracy and abandonware goes something like this. I'm okay with abandonware, especially when the only recourse that you have is that the only way you can play these games is to download a copy of them because they're just not available to you anymore. Or, there's only like 500 copies of the physical game that was released. So I'm generally okay with that stuff. But, and when you talk about things like the the Wii Shop, where the entire and the Virtual Console, when games get discontinued on like the Xbox Live Arcade, stuff like Outrun Online Arcade and Scott Pilgrim versus the World. I mean, the only way you can play these games again is to Google and download them. So yes, I mean, you are, and I said Google and I just woke up my phone, so just hold on a second. But you, yeah, I mean, the only recourse you have is to download these things, and technically speaking, it's piracy, right? Where I have a problem with piracy is when people resell, like systems with pirated games in the to make money on, right? So the person that's selling the PS4 with 30 pirated games on there, or someone that's selling a system with a bunch of ROMs, stuff like that's where I don't agree with it, and I think that's really where I kind of draw the line. I got a Pixel 2, and sorry, let me just scroll up because I know some people ask me questions, and I'm trying to get to everyone here. Merry Christmas, Possessive Clasher, Wicked Gamer and Collector. Yeah, I'm familiar with Wicked Gamer. He's the guy from New Zealand. I'm not sure if he releases that much content anymore, but I used to follow him back in the day. Lavian, sorry man, I apologize. I missed your donation question. Go ahead and ask me again, man. I'm sorry, dude. Just hit me up with the question again. I'll definitely answer. Thanks, Anthony, for the donation. More Christmas socks, you betcha, man. I'll definitely get some. Some of the benefits of the Pixel 2 as opposed to other phones. I've been an Apple iPhone guy for years, and I just kind of felt like a change. And I got the Pixel 2 like 18 months ago. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's a pretty good phone. MVG, if you upgrade 3DS to the latest firmware and with custom firmware, it will be banned. Probably William. I'm not really sure, honestly. Oh, right on. Wicked Game has been putting out new content. Yeah, I'll go back and take a look at him. He used to be like really good back in the day, so I'll check it out. Check him out for sure. Take it easy, Mario Kart guy. Have a good night, dude. My name is Demetrius. I think, I mean, that's not really a secret. So yeah, Demetrius is my first name. Take it easy, Gangway Gamer. Have a good night, and Game of the Year stream tomorrow night. Okay, I'll if I'm around, I may swing by for a little bit. What are my thoughts on the Ericsson Xperia Play? Can play Gran Turismo, and is it worth $100? I like the Xperia Play. I think it's a great system. I kind of wish they kept releasing them. Wicked Gamer is from the Netherlands. I'm getting confused now. Okay, I'm thinking of someone else. I will let me follow up on that one. For some reason, I thought Wicked Game was from New Zealand and he was big on arcade PCBs and stuff, but maybe I'm getting confused. I'll check out Wicked Gamer. Lavian MVG, thanks. I'm currently streaming Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time using Project 64. What are your thoughts on Project 64? Dude, Project 64 was the emulator that like changed my life, right? So to answer your question, I love that emulator. When the OG Xbox came out and I started to work on homebrew for it, Project 64 was at version 1.4, and the source code was available for Project 64 version 1.4. They're already up to like 1.6 at that point, but they released the 1.4 source code. So I ported Project 64 to the OG Xbox. So yeah, my thoughts on that emulator is it's one of the most important emulators that was ever released in the history of emulation. So yeah, there are my thoughts on it, and it's still, in my opinion at least, the best N64 emulator that you can get out there. What was your first experience with gaming? Probably on the Commodore 64 or the Commodore VIC-20 back in the 80s. It's been a long time, retro modern player. Ultra HLE was the first emulator that blew me away. Absolutely, Rooney's Click. Absolutely. It was completely life-changing, man, when that emulator came out. Hey man, I want to say thank you for everything you've done. The videos always top notch, and I enjoy the content very much. Merry Christmas, and thank you so much. Thank you, the Bugman94. Merry Christmas, man. I appreciate the kind words. Coin cell battery for the OG clock capacitor replacement. I mean, I guess you could do that, but I mean, for me, I would just say just remove the battery. I mean, there's no reason why you need it. Best N64 emulator was the one for Virtual Console. That was pretty good. That was a pretty good one. But the thing about that one is it doesn't play everything. You know, the games that it does supports them very well, but it doesn't play everything. Merry Christmas, Tech James. I see you in the chat there, brother. Thanks for swinging by. Have you been part of any demo scene group? In my opinion, yes, I have. I have been involved in some demo scene groups, and let's just say that that may be a topic of a video that's coming up. So, I'll definitely talk more about that on a video. Merry Christmas, Dai Shogun. Mupin 64 plus. Yeah, Mupin 64 is a legit emulator. I don't want to take anything away from it. It's very good, very very good, especially with the Factor 5 stuff that it supports and stuff. But I don't know. Project 64 for me has always been the kind of the bee's knees there for N64. Wicked Gamer and Collector. So is that the guy from New Zealand I'm thinking of? I'm sorry, man. I'm getting confused with two YouTubers. So I'll have to check them out again. I do. Merry Christmas. Thanks to you. I bought a Sony Xperia Play. Awesome, Stardust, man. Hopefully you're enjoying it. The Xperia Play was a great little phone device. I wish Sony continued making those gaming phones, because the way that they did that device was actually really really good. Sam T, $2. I must know, how long have you been in the US? I've lived in the US for like 13 years now. It's been a minute. It's been quite a while. Simpsonomia. I'm sorry I butchered your name. Thank you for making videos about emulation. They're well made and inspiring. Question to you: what are your thoughts on PS Vita emulators? I think the PS Vita is like one of the best handhelds for emulators. I think I will say that the Vita is lacking a little bit of power, so it does struggle with some emulators, some of the more powerful ones. It doesn't really run MAME as well as, like the Switch or something. But for me, where the Vita really shines is the homebrew. The Vita has some exceptional homebrew that is available for it. Do you play your PS4? Yes. Yeah, every single day. Retro Gaming Systems Collector. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's. Original Xbox answer. Panzer Dragoon Limited System Edition. Oh my god. Do you ever plan to get one in 2020? Dude, I would love to get my hands on one of those Panzer Dragoon Auto Limited Edition systems. I just, I mean, they're ridiculous money, and that's really what it comes down to. I would have some serious buyer's remorse if I spent the thousands that people want for them. But if one ever came up at a reasonable price, I would probably consider getting one, because yeah, that's one system that I've always wanted to get my hands on. Can you upscale retro game consoles using HDMI Cloner Box Pro? Not familiar with what that is, William. TXK on Vita is great, absolutely. Merry Christmas, hey be quiet, don't get mad, boo. Merry Christmas from Berkshire County. Thanks for your great videos. Thank you so much. Ebchill2, Merry Christmas. What do you think of the Raspberry Pi? We just kind of talked about that just before, Luke. Look, I'm not sure yet. I've got a Raspberry Pi 4 that I'm going to really start to take a look at and see what it can do. Hellboy0013, what do you think of the Mariko mod chip news by Team Executor? That's a great question. I think it's complete BS. Don't believe it at all. Think it's absolutely ridiculous. And if they prove me wrong, then I will stand corrected, but I just don't think it's real. Merry Christmas, Creeper123. Merry Christmas, Retro Modern Player from Portugal. Do you think patch switches will get exploited? Not anytime soon. I don't think so. Do you think the Xbox Series X will actually have backward compatibility to the original Xbox? Yes, I do. I think everything that is currently backward compatible on the Xbox One and the Xbox 360 will be brought forward to the Xbox Series X. I think backward compatibility is a very important part of the Xbox Series X and Microsoft's kind of vision for the systems going forward. I have the Switch version of Breath of the Wild, but I don't have the Wii U version of it. Am I allowed to emulate it on Cemu? I'm not a lawyer, Zubin Jacob. I would say if you own the game, then yes, but you know, there's all these kind of weird laws about what you own and what you can play. But I mean, I would probably do it. I'd probably play it. Are you excited for Polymega? Yes, I am. I have pre-ordered one, and I'm hanging out for the release of the Polymega. Does backward compatibility really matter? I mean, I think it does, but I also understand why people think it doesn't. I mean, most people just want to play, you know, modern AAA games or modern games, right? A lot of people don't want to go back and play older games. And I definitely get that, but I think it is important. And I think both Sony and Microsoft are going to push backward compatibility on both the systems. I don't think either of them are going to be fully backward compatible. That is an extremely aggressive, you know, piece of... It's an extremely aggressive kind of milestone that I just don't think is achievable. Polymega is too expensive with all the add-ons. Yes, it is, Kenneth. I agree with that. Totally agree with that. But I'm also interested to see what the final product looks like. PS3 is impossible to emulate. I wouldn't say it's impossible, but it's not anywhere near the point where it needs to be, and I don't think it's something Sony is planning on doing with the PlayStation 5. Merry Christmas, William. When will be the next video? So I did make a post on this on my community tab, but I'm taking a bit of a break until January the 1st, so I'm taking the rest of the week off. No video on Monday, but on Wednesday next week, January the 1st, there'll be the first video of the new year. So I'm just going to take a few days off, recharge, play some games, get caught up on the backlog, all that stuff, and then we'll be back, you know, first thing in the new year. Thank you so much, Charlemagne. Merry Christmas to you too. Much appreciated. Keeping an eye on Path of Exile 2 and Diablo 4. Not yet. I mean, Diablo 4 is definitely something I want to play, but Diablo 4 is probably about 2 years away. I mean, let's be realistic from coming out. If you were to design your own console, what would the main feature be? I mean, for me, I would say performance would be my number one thing. You know, I would say that I want it to be 60 frames per second, but I also would want it to support 2D as well. You know, not 3D with like Unreal Engine, right? Like it actually had 2D hardware in there where it was really good. It had, you know, sprite-based hardware in there that you could use and things like that. Multi arcade PCB Darksoft multi-terra. Man, so many things you're saying here. Customized software EEPROM futures. Retro gaming systems collector, dude. I have no idea what you're asking me there. You're talking about all these flash cards and multi cartridges. Not really familiar with what you're saying there. Thank you for your videos on emulation. They've all been great. I've been infatuated with emulation since the MU News days. Man, that's going back a while. Back when SNES 90X came out with the sound emulation. Man, I'm with you. I remember those days well. That was some good days back then. Can you play CPS3 games without the CD? Yes, there are no CD versions of the ROMs that you can use, so you don't necessarily need the CD to play CPS3. Where did I get the awesome Rare shirt? I got that from fangamer.com. I don't know if they still have them up there, but I got that and the Banjo-Kazooie shirt from there. So check out fangamer.com. And no, that was not sponsored or affiliated or anything like that. So sometimes they got some pretty cool shirts. Do you think the re-release was done less than optimally? I don't know. A guy on the internet. I think Reach on the PC was pretty good, I would say. I don't know. I mean, it looks good. It feels good. I know that there's some issues. People prefer using the controller over the keyboard, but I think it's pretty good. What do you think of the full-size remake on the C64? I don't have one, Luke, but I'm probably going to check one out and take a look at it on the channel. It seems like it's a pretty good system. I know 8-Bit Guy reviewed one, and he said that it was good. So, it's good enough for me, I guess. Video Game Obsession, Merry Christmas, brother. Thank you for stopping by, man. Good to see you here in the chat. Can you replace suicide batteries to revive CPS2? You can de-suicide a CPS2 board, and you can replace the batteries. James C, yes, I have a computer science background. First programming languages was C and assembly. Well, actually, before I did a computer science degree, my first languages I learned would have been BASIC. What's going on, Coolio? Merry Christmas. Hey man, I want to say thanks for the videos. Our drive to and from work, listening to your vids helped the trip go by. Oh, awesome, man. Thank you so much. That really means a lot. Much appreciated. What dead gaming franchise would you like to see being revived, and who would you like to see develop it? Oh, man. Dead gaming franchises. Time Splitters comes to mind. And I know THQ Nordic has the Time Splitters. They have the license and the rights to it. Man, I would say Time Splitters is my pick. Ooh, F-Zero is a good one too. Yeah, I could see. I could get behind that F-Zero. Hi, MVG using a compact flash card. Good to use as a hard drive for OG Xbox. Yes, it is, Monkey Man. You can use a compact flash card on an OG Xbox without any issues. I guess the only limitation is it's pretty hard to find anything bigger than a 64 gigabyte compact flash card, so you're kind of restricted to, I guess, a smaller hard drive size. But otherwise, you can use them just fine. KOTOR 3, yeah, I would take KOTOR 3. Do I still have love for the PSP? Absolutely, I do. PSP is a fantastic handheld system. Big fan of the PSP. Better use SSD on the OG Xbox. Well, I mean, you can use an SSD, but I like quiet. Like the OG Xbox runs pretty loud as it stands because there's so many things going on inside of it with the fans and stuff. So quietening down the internals is always, at least for me, is something that I would prefer. What percentage of time would you say is split between modern gaming and vintage gaming? Probably about 50-50, honestly. Like I play a lot of both, obviously, but I would say 50-50. Merry Christmas, James Smith. Any idea where I can get a decent PSP battery from these days? Oh, yeah, good luck. I don't really know the answer to that. How do I feel about the arcade one-up cabinets? I'm not sure yet. Jack 9761. Not really sure how I feel about them yet. I don't dislike them. I think they're interesting. I think the company that makes them is certainly listening to feedback and they are improving things, but I don't necessarily can say more than that at this point. I'm doing a RGH on your Corona Slim. Any advice? Just take it easy, man. Take it easy, and just be meticulous on your work. You'll be fine. What's the best PSP model for hacking? I mean, all of them are pretty easy to mod. You can't go wrong with any of them. Would you ever collab with LGI? Yeah, I would. Bubba Matt. I would collab with LGR for sure. If the opportunity ever came up, absolutely. Merry Christmas, David O'Reilly. Thank you for swinging by the stream, man. PSP 3000. Yeah, I like the PSP 3000. How long would you give something until it's considered vintage? I don't know, 15 years maybe. Not really sure. I mean, I consider like the Xbox 360 vintage, but I think about when it first came out, that was 2005, right? But it kind of went all the way up to like 2011. So, do we consider the Xbox 360 a vintage system? It's been, it had such a long lifespan, but it's been around for forever. So. Lavian, I would never have guessed that you lived in the States. Here's another $2 for keeping that accent pure. Thank you, man. Much appreciated. Thank you for the kind words. Have you tried Android on the Switch? I have not. It looks interesting, but didn't really seem like it was something that I thought was really kind of worth, spending the time to do. $10. Gallon Wells, love your work since I was 15, even before I knew who you are. OG Xbox was my start. What would you recommend for emulation on the TV? One box to rule them all. I would say go the NVIDIA Shield TV. I think if you can find one that's on a discount, like let's say like $130, I would say jump on the NVIDIA Shield TV. I think you'll have a pretty good experience with it. It does everything all the way up to GameCube exceptionally well. So I would say that is the one way to, or the one system to emulate everything. The Importer, thank you so much. Merry Christmas. I'm a recent subscriber. Love your vids. Question: software emulation versus FPGA. What do you think is the future for retro gaming? I think both. I think there's room for both of those things in the future. I think FPGA is really starting to make some big strides with what we've seen this year with the Mister and the work that Analog's been doing and the work that companies like Terra Onion have been doing with FPGA. But I also think you can't rule out emulation as well. We've got things like PS3 emulation, we've got Xbox 360, we've got Nintendo Switch emulation. So I think there's room for both, and I think that will always continue to be the case. Do you have your very first original Xbox console? Yes, I do. Yes, it's still working. Crackham Truth. Yes, I do. Amin Santana, thank you for your content. I'm on the fence about soft modding my Wii U, Vita, NES, and SNES Classic. Dude, I would say give either the Wii U or the Vita a go. The Wii U is very easy to soft mod, and it is one of the best systems out there for an emulation device. Take it easy, Moofles. Merry Christmas. Much appreciated. Thank you for stopping by, man. And hopefully you enjoyed the live stream, but enjoy the rest of your day wherever you are in the world, brother. What's your advice for buying an Xbox One console? My advice is just wait until the Xbox Series X and just don't worry about the Xbox One at this point. You can and will brick. If you do the right things, your dream 8, you'll be fine. I personally have not bricked. I've done quite a few Wii U's before. I've never bricked one. As long as you follow the right steps, and I would suggest go to wiiu.hacks.guide for the most up-to-date guide, you'll be fine. Merry Christmas, Glenn Corbett. Thank you, man. Much appreciated. Are you into the Stardust, man? Are you into the whole retro Chinese retro game handhelds like the Pocket Go? Not really. Not really. At this point in time, I don't have any of those systems, but who knows? I may start checking some of those out. I was talking about this before, but I want to get my hands on that Switch knockoff from Columbia. That one looks pretty good to me. Oh, you bricked it using like a virtual console game or a WAD file that was not bought. Yeah, there are ways to brick your system, but if you use, you can still, if you can still install some tools on your Wii U to stop that from happening. But for sure, I get what you're saying. The Smitch, that's what I want. I want the Smitch. I need to know how I can get my hands on one of those things. Merry Christmas from Russia. Solomax, Merry Christmas, man. Thank you for stopping by. Ever had a mod chipped Sega Saturn? No, I haven't. I just use an Action Replay cartridge and region free. Well, yeah, just mod chip. A Action Replay cartridge. Ever expected a mod job to do a video? Ever accepted a mod job to do a video? I'm not really wanting to do mods on videos, and the reason why is because the moment that you kind of do a tutorial or a modding tutorial on a video, they tend to get out of date almost immediately. The last time I did a legit modding video was on the Vita, and that was like a year ago, and I mean, so much had changed. That video that I did on the Vita TV, I feel like deleting it from YouTube because it's so out of date that no one should be following that guide anymore. So I tend to not do those things. I think the best modding guides that you can get is to use a written guide that is up to date, because it's always going to be up to date. Aku540, thank you for the super chat. Have you ever tried out the Linux kit for PS2? Dude, I want to get my hands on a Linux kit for PS2 because it's something I want to cover on the channel. I've had some opportunities to get one in the past, but quite honestly, I don't want to spend that much money on one. But I definitely want to check out Linux on the PS2. So, if I can get a hold of a setup next year, I'll cover it on the channel. Is there anything you can do with a modded Vita besides emulation? There's some really good homebrew. There is, there's some media stuff that you can do on there, but I would say the homebrew is really what makes the Vita so good. I mean, there's like Quake 3, there's, and you can play all this stuff online as well. There's Quake 2, there's another Metroid, the homebrew game that you can play on there. There's some awesome homebrew on the Vita. What's the preferred way to mod the Xbox 360? It's the reset glitch hack is kind of the preferred way to do it. Are there any Neo Geo Pocket and WonderSwan emulators that you can use on a GBA? I don't know much about emulation on the GBA, so I'm not really sure on that one. Do you know of any websites that I can download some old game engines? Well, I mean, you can there's things like the build engine and some of the early idTech engines. All that stuff is open source. I think some of the earlier Unreal engines are available as well, but other than that, not really. I mean, you'll have to kind of dig around a little bit, see what you can find. I do not need a PS2. No, I'm not looking for someone to send me a PS2. It was about the Linux kit for it. If I can somehow source one of those, then I'll see if I can make a video on it. Do you think Sony is really done with handhelds? That's a great question, Stardust man. I think Sony with Jim Ryan is done with handhelds. Do I think Sony is done with handhelds? I'm not so sure. We don't really know what the future holds. Right now I think they've come out and said they are done, but whoever is after Jim Ryan may decide that they can bring them back. So we'll see. Jim Ryan is such a boomer. It's hilarious. Merry Christmas, Marcelo. I remember using the build engine to recreate my house back in the day. That's awesome. Do you think we will get Xbox 360 emulation fully working before the original Xbox? No, I don't. I think we'll get the original Xbox before Xbox 360 fully working. Let's put it that way. What's your opinion on modding the PlayStation Classic? I haven't done it myself. I think it's cool, but it's just another, ARM-based device that runs Linux. So it's interesting, but I'm not really that interested in it, I guess. If you had to guess one launch PS5 game, what would it be? Well, it all depends on what Bluepoint is cooking up their sleeve. So Bluepoint is working on a PS5 game, which is a remake, and the rumor is it's Metal Gear Solid or it's Legend of Dragoon. I don't know if it's either of those though. Is it really Metal Gear Solid? But oh man, it's not going to be Knack, that's for sure. I would say the other one I keep hearing is Demon Souls as well, and that's the one that kind of, for me at least, makes the most sense. So maybe Demon Souls is the one that comes back for the PS5. I'd love to see Sega Rally and Daytona on the Switch from M2. Me too. Hopefully, we'll see more Sega arcade games on the different systems. Jumping Flash would be sick to have on the new system, but can't say that I see that happening. Yeah, for sure. Are you going to homebrew a Switch sometime in the future? I will eventually, GG Games. I will eventually. Yeah, Demon Souls is one that keeps coming up as a possibility that Bluepoint is working on for the PS5, and I think if I had to guess what they're working on, I would say Demon Souls is certainly a possibility. Legend of the Dragoon is another one that I keep hearing about, but I question, how well that game would sell in 2020, Merry Christmas, Westwood Philly 5. Do you think we'll ever see this ever see Sega join the console market again? I don't think so. I don't think we will see them do that. I think they're just going to stick to games. Do you ever plan on doing any gameplay streaming or something similar? I've done some gameplay streams before, but yeah, I usually tend to not do them very, very often. They need to make another MotorStorm. Dude, I agree. They totally do need to make another MotorStorm. Do you think Switch is the last handheld? No, I don't, Stardust Man. I think there's definitely more coming for sure. Best console that doesn't get emulated properly? Well, that would probably be either the PS2 or the OG Xbox. But the OG Xbox is the one that I would pick there. What are some good sites for programmers wanting to get into homebrew and porting? Ooh. devkitpro.org is a good one. I would check that out. Depends on the system that you're looking for. Like, one site that is really good that has a lot of information and it has a lot of links to other sites that have good information is GBA Temp. You can usually find some good stuff there. Do you think the PS5 is the only console worth it? And if you have a high-end gaming PC, I think if you have a high-end gaming PC, then possibly, because Sony's going to keep with their exclusives that may not necessarily be playable on anything else other than their hardware. Microsoft obviously will have xCloud, and they will have Game Pass, and they'll have the sharing between the PC and the consoles. So yeah, I mean, I would say the PS5 is what you should stick with. What's up? Bring me Joy-Con. Last of Us. Yes, Last of Us 2 is... Well, I mean, we know that's coming next year, but it's coming for the PS4. It's probably going to come out for the PS5. I'm sure it will, but it's not necessarily a game that we haven't heard of yet. I know the PS5 is supposed to be SSD driven, but what is the likelihood we can connect an 8 terabyte external drive? I've thought about this myself. I mean, there has to be a way for you to be able to add external storage onto it. But where it gets interesting is then, well, how do you solve the fast loading, problem that they have? So, but I also go back to the fact that they must be able to offer you a way to add external storage to this thing. Otherwise, it doesn't sound very good to me. You have to be able to do that. Any opinion on the Hyperkin Duke controller? Yeah, John G, I have one. I like it. I think they're very, very faithful to the original. If you like the original Duke controller, then you'll like the Hyperkin controller. Have I played Crazy Taxi 3? Yes, I have. The high roller game on the OG Xbox. Yes. Would you like to see the franchise return to? Absolutely. I'd love to see Crazy Taxi return. The Vista Group. Merry Christmas, MVG. Copy protect this. Thanks. Thank you so much. Vista Group, Merry Christmas. Is that Antonia Bale on the left? Hemic, yes it is. You got a good eye there. You must be an EverQuest player from back in the day. Take it easy, Robert. Thank you so much for stopping by the chat, man. Have a Merry Christmas and have a great evening. Speaking of that, I'm probably gonna give it about 5 more minutes myself. We've been going pretty strong here for about 2.5 hours, so I'm going to probably stick around for another 5 minutes, and then we'll wrap up the stream. Where can I find the video after the stream ends? It will be. So I have a playlist called Playlists, and you'll find the video in that list. So, but just give it a little bit because they don't always come up straight away. But yeah, if you want to catch this, it'll be available. Yeah, it'll archive on the channel. Stream till Christmas. Oh man, I don't think I got it in me, Samuel. I've been out all day at family Christmas Eve, shindig that we had. So, but I'll see if I can follow up with you guys on New Year's. Maybe we'll live stream on New Year's Eve, and I'll play some games. The most obscure computer or console that I own. I got a couple. I think right now I have a Sharp X68000. I wouldn't say they're obscure, but they're kind of uncommon. And I also have an Acorn Archimedes. So I would say that those two would be the ones that come to mind. What's your opinion on accurate emulators? I mean, I think I respect them for sure. I think they are very important, especially when you're trying to emulate that last kind of 5% of stuff that doesn't work too well. But I also think that it comes at a cost of speed as well. But no, I think I like cycle accurate emulation for sure. Will there be a new podcast episode? Yes, Walter, there'll be one coming out in the next few days, so just keep an eye out for that for sure. What's the best ROM hack you've ever played? Non-translation. Ooh. I think all the ROM hacks I've played have been translation ROMs. Does the Super Mario Land... Well, that's not a ROM hack either. The Super Mario Land on the Super NES. I mean, that's not even a ROM hack, but that was very impressive. Why do I own an Amiga CD32? Dude, it's an Amiga. Of course I own a CD32. I love Amiga. I'll definitely cover a PC SX2 at some point, Ratso. Merry Christmas, Charlie. Thank you so much, man. How much RAM does my computer have? It has 16 gigabytes. Actually, yeah, 16 gigabytes. Yeah, I definitely need to upgrade it. What games am I playing right now? Right now, I'm playing Need for Speed Heat, and that's really about it. I'm probably going to get some games to play tomorrow, which includes Sekiro and some others. So I'll definitely be playing some more games over the break. Merry Christmas, OK Boomer. Thoughts on the 32X? I like the 32X. It's a system that obviously only had a handful of games that came out for it, but I think the hardware is pretty good. Do I own a Sega CD? Yes, I do. Why is PS2 blurry on HD TV? Well, a couple of different reasons. A lot of it has to do with the screen resolution and the fact that there were only there were some games that ran in progressive scan mode, but a lot of the games only ran in interlace mode, so you tend to get that kind of ripply effect when you're playing. Ultimate Base Extreme Gaming, shout out from the Philippines. Yeah, man, great to see you in the chat here. Thank you for stopping by, and Merry Christmas to you. Favorite Resident Evil game? I would say Resident Evil 2 Remake is my favorite Resident Evil game. That game was so good when it came out early this year. Huge fan of it. Other than that, if it wasn't Resident Evil 2 Remake, I would say Resident Evil 2 is my favorite Resident Evil game. followed by Resident Evil 4. Can you give a shout out to my main man, Liquid Richard? What's up, Liquid Richard? Merry Christmas. Have I played the new Super Mario Land for the Super Nintendo? Yes. Yeah, that's really, really good. Really good. Favorite Sonic game? It'd have to be Sonic 2. It for me is my favorite Sonic game on the Genesis or Mega Drive. Do you think Resident Evil 2 remake should have won Game of the Year? I was okay with Sekiro winning. I was a little surprised when Sekiro won Game of the Year, but I think for whatever reason, remakes tend to not do as well in these types of things. So, but for me, Resident Evil 2 remake was excellent. Thank you so much, Santiago. Much appreciated. What do I think of the Devil May Cry series? I really liked the first game, liked the second game, didn't like the third game, but I like Devil May Cry DMC 5. It's very, very good. Overall, I mean, I like the series a lot. Couple of missteps here and there, of course, but big fan of the series. What 16-bit console game do you think has the best music? Ooh, Chrono Trigger. Got to be Chrono Trigger. I don't know, man. I wasn't feeling DMC3, Devil's Cry. There was something about that game that I just didn't like. But I really enjoyed the first two games a lot. Merry Christmas, Kane. Thank you so much. John G. Yeah, my presentation at PRGE went really well. And I know it's on another channel somewhere, so if anyone wants to catch that, I think it's... I don't remember the dude's name, but there is a video of me presenting at the Portland Retro Gaming Expo from earlier this year. Worst console to develop for? Ooh, probably the Nintendo Wii U or the PlayStation 2, I think, would be the worst. What's the hardest thing about being a YouTube star? I didn't even consider myself a YouTube star. I mean, a YouTube star is like some rich person that lives out in LA that has like millions of subscribers or whatever. But I appreciate the compliment. Top 3 arcade games in the mid-90s. Ooh, okay, here we go. So, Mortal Kombat 2 is definitely one of them. Has to be one of them. And then there would be... What else would I would say? Probably... Ooh... I would also put R-Type as one of those games, and that would leave one more. So I've got a shoot 'em up, and I've got a fighting game. Maybe Turtles, but I think Turtles is a good game, but it's not like, top tier for me. I think the third one would be... It'd be like a driving game, I think. I would think, like Outrun or something along those lines. Some sit-down racing game. Outrun 2, maybe. Something like that. Daytona, yeah. Some racing game, Sega Rally or Daytona. But yeah, a fighting game, a racing game, and like a shoot 'em up, I think is is what I would have as my top 3. Yeah, well, Merry Christmas, Matt. Thank you for stopping by the stream. Favorite Easter egg in any game? Ooh. I don't know. I mean, I like the fourth wall breaking stuff in Metal Gear Solid. That was cool. They're not really Easter eggs, though, I guess, but yeah, Easter eggs. Not really sure. I mean, Super Mario Odyssey had some cool ones. But yeah, there's some interesting ones that have come out. Am I a fan of survival horror? Yes, I am. I love Resident Evil and Dino Crisis. Happy holidays, Metal Neon. Do I have a website? I don't have a website, actually. I do not have a website. I'll get around to setting one up eventually, I'm sure. What's the best way to hook up retro consoles to modern TVs? Check out my man Retro RGB. He has done an amazing guide on this exact topic. So if you're not already subscribed, or if you haven't checked him out, check out Retro RGB. But I'll give you a spoiler. You want to use something like this, which is the open source CAN converter. This is what you need to run. Well, this is one of the things that you can use to run modern or retro systems on modern consoles. So check out the OSSC, but check out Retro RGB because he's done a very, very good series on this exact topic. Thank you so much, the boy Sassy21. Merry Christmas. Yeah, the FrameMeister is a great device as well. I actually have a FrameMeister as well. I don't know which one I like better. There's good things about both the OSSC and the FrameMeister. I'm not really sure which one I prefer. It also depends on what systems that you're trying to upscale or to use on a modern display. Hacking the PS4 with a TI-84. Yeah, you were doing the old PS Groove jailbreak, pushing those payloads to your PS3 to unlock it. Nice one. Yeah, the XRGB Mini is also a really good option. It does S-Video for sure. And that's one thing that I guess the OSSC does not provide. But then, then there's obviously the RetroTink that you could use for S-Video. But if you kind of want an all-in-one that supports a lot of different types, the XRGB Mini is good. But the OSSC is I mean, I use this pretty much every single day, so it kind of gets my vote. All right, everyone. I'm going to leave it here for tonight. I want to say thank you so much for hanging out with me for the last wow, it's been 2.5 hours, getting close to almost 3 hours. But I wanted to wish everyone Merry Christmas once again. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll be back. Probably I'll do a Christmas Eve stream, so I'll let everyone know if we're going to do that. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this live stream for the last couple of hours, and I really, really appreciate everyone hanging out with me tonight. Wherever you are in the world, if it's Christmas Eve or if it's Christmas Day, I hope you have an enjoyable evening or day. Spend it with your families and just relax and enjoy it. I'll be doing the same thing myself, playing some games tomorrow. I'm looking forward to just having a bit of a break from the hustle and bustle of YouTube. But yeah, that's it, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this live stream and enjoy the rest of your night. And wherever you are in the world, have a good night or enjoy the rest of your day. Peace out. Take care, guys.